And Ohio isn't the only state changing the way it handles capital punishment. Last month, Texas unveiled the Machinator, which humanely squishes up to 50 prisoners at once. Coming up next, is anything valuable buried in the woods behind my house? Our team of investigators finds out.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by freekeen.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 10th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,328 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $626. Antiwar.com reports at least 4 Turkish airstrikes were carried out against targets in northern Syria, described as the Islamic State quarters in 4 regions in northern Syria. Casualties are unclear, but Turkish media claimed at least one the Islamic State fighter to have been killed. The strikes included areas in and around Tel Ali, and Turkish media claimed that Turkish-backed rebels linked to the Free Syrian Army had captured the region away from the Islamic State over the course of Friday's offensive. Turkey invaded northern Syria late last month with an eye toward securing a 90-kilometer strip of the border for the rebel faction. They've taken the territory strictly along the border and have been pushing further south over the past few days, deeper into the Islamic State territory. As the Islamic State starts to run out of nearby territory, the next likely targets are to be Kurdish territory along the Euphrates River, with Turkey making repeated demands for the Kurdish YPG to cede all territory west of the river and rejecting U.S. claims that the Kurds have already done so. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Minnesota Democrats have filed a lawsuit seeking to have Donald Trump and Mike Pence kicked off the ballot in November after the state party failed to follow election laws in selecting the slate of electors that will appear. The matter stems from a legal technicality involving alternate delegates to the Electoral College. The Minnesota Constitution states Electoral College delegates and their alternates must be elected at the party's convention. The GOP picked its Electoral College delegates at the party convention on August 24th, but did not pick alternates. When the party submitted its ballot paperwork on the day of the deadline, August 29th, it did not include that information. Party leaders were forced to scramble and did not have time to reconvene a state convention to fix the oversight, so the slate of alternates was chosen by the party's executive committee. The oversight caused a brief panic when the presidential ticket did not appear on a list on the Minnesota Secretary of State website on the day of the deadline. Now, Democrats in the state have filed a suit in the Minnesota Supreme Court arguing that the Republicans cut corners. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Voluntary Islam. Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and other essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Private Chelsea Manning, serving a 35-year prison term for passing classified files to WikiLeaks, said on Friday that she would refuse to eat until given help for her gender dysphoria and treated with dignity, respect, and humanity by the government. The 28-year-old Army private, who was born male but revealed after being convicted of espionage that she identifies as a woman, tried to commit suicide in July over what her representative said was the government's denial of appropriate treatment for gender issues. The Army announced later that month that it would investigate Manning for misconduct in connection with the attempt to take her own life, a probe that could lead to indefinite solitary confinement, reclassification into maximum security, or additional prison time. Manning said in a statement released by a spokeswoman, "I need help. I needed help earlier this year. I was driven to suicide by the lack of care for my gender dysphoria, and I have been desperate for it. I did not get any. I still haven't gotten any. I'm no longer asking. Now I'm demanding." As of 12:01 a.m. Central Daylight Time on September 9th, 2016, and until I am given minimum standards of dignity, respect, and humanity, I shall refuse to voluntarily cut or shorten my hair in any way, consume any food or drink voluntarily except for water and currently prescribed medications, and comply with all rules, regulations, laws, and orders that are not related to the two things I have mentioned. Manning said in her statement that she was prepared mentally and emotionally to endure an indefinite hunger strike, even if it proved fatal. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
5-Hour Energy CEO Manoj Bhargava claimed this week that the 13 deaths associated with his product were just collateral damage in his company's ongoing war against that 230 feeling. Quote, "We honor the sacrifice of all those who have fallen. I wish we could live in a world where you could get a spike of energy and no crash and not die. But that's not the world we live in." Passionate supporters have flooded social media, demonstrating the terrifying costs of midday drowsiness and fatigue, with consumers saying that when it comes to extra alertness in the mid-afternoon, they are willing to pay any price.
As the wife of a 5-hour energy drinker, we've had to sacrifice a lot in the name of long-lasting bursts of energy that carry you out of the workday and into the evening. We knew the risks going in.
Bhargava says his company has no plans to stop until the 230 feeling is completely wiped off the map, at which point they will turn their attention to that 330 feeling, 430 feeling, and people with a case of the Mondays.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you, of course, can take control of the airwaves if you wish. That's the point of the show. It's why we call it Free Talk Live. With you in studio tonight on this live Saturday edition of the show, it's me, Ian.
And TJ the Spy.
Of course, as I say, you can bring up anything. We've got a Skype username. That is one way to that you can connect with us. Skype username is lrn.fm, and also the toll-free number at 855-450-FREE. So today I finally saw this much ballyhooed mattress commercial, the Miracle mattress commercial, which maybe you've heard about. They apparently upset a lot of people by not taking the 9/11 attacks seriously. They were poking fun. Maybe they figured that 15 years was long enough. Because there's always the question after some sort of tragedy strikes.
Yeah.
How long is, or how short is too short of a time to start cracking jokes about it?
Well, I would say, I don't know, probably 40 years, because at the Missouri University of Science and Technology, where I got my undergraduate degrees in engineering, the thing that I noticed, they had Pearl Harbor Day. So my grandfather would come for Christmas, and he said, "What are all these gosh darn
thank you for that.
Japanese flags doing up?" He didn't say that because he was a World War II veteran. He served on the USS Sangamon. And so they were trying to kill him. They would come at with grenades and crash. So I understood why, but he said, it's like, what do you want me to do? Like, go to my grandfather, we have changed our ways. And so
sure, but why did you say 40 years?
So apparently, it's a long story tradition, but this group of college kids decided we're just going to barricade ourselves onto 4 North of Thomas Jefferson Res Hall and get plastered drunk, and there's no way the police can get to us. So they hold up like all week there, and it was like a protest. And so every year they have Pearl Harbor Day. It's like this officially open secret where people get really trashed. Engineers, we love to drink. We have St. Patty's Day, and
college students love to drink.
well, not like
human
Rolla. I would
beings
put
love-
Rolla because we have St. Patty's Day. We'll paint the street screen and
oh, come on. People drink all over the place. I'm sure Rolla, Missouri is no different from anywhere else. People in the
I've seen
United
a lot
States.
of engineering St. Patty's Day parades, and so ours is pretty amazing. Of course, now it's my alum, so I have to have pride for my school.
But what you're saying is that these folks who are celebrating, there were some people who were upset about them celebrating, like that they were not taking
the people who didn't want to have any
the
fun.
anniversary seriously.
For me, I mean, that you would have the freshmen out there, the freshman pledgies for the frats, and so they'd be like, "What makes the blast? What do we love? St. Pat's. What do we hate? Snakes. What makes the grass grow green? Blood, blood, blood." And they would have snakes out there, rubber snakes, and they'd be beating with their cudgels to celebrate St. Patrick, the patron saint of engineering. And
I don't think anybody would be upset about.
Well, I was upset
that.
because they were destroying the lawn, and so the whole thing is every year we had to spend several $100,000 on landscaping for St. Pat's because we tear up the whole university lawn.
Who would have to spend several $100,000?
The students.
University?
This was a sanctioned event. We get the whole week off. We don't get a day off. We get the whole week off for St. Pat's.
And so the students directly had to pay for it, or the school paid for it?
Well, the state of Missouri and whoever else. But I mean, it's a fun. I've went once and got really intoxicated and fell and split my lip open. I said I had a good old time. And I just said that was the last time I've been intoxicated.
But back to the question of whether or not people are offended. Did you experience some people being offended by?
Well, a lot of people who are my mom's age, they were offended by this. And I said, "Well, Mom, it's just a bunch of 20-year-old frat dudes who are wanting to come. It's just they have a celebration each year, and they put up the rising sun all over 4 North. You'll just be out there." And so I said, "Yeah, I could imagine coming there for freshman orientation day, and you see this weird row of Japanese battle flags." And you're kind of going, what's up with that group over there? I want to be part of that group. And this one floor, they're very much like a fraternity in the res hall. So there's always like these weird dramas going on between res hall life and frat life.
Residence hall.
Yeah, and it's just like it's an artificial type of war or competition. So the answer to your question, what prompted this whole story, you said, how long is it to wait? And I said, well, after Pearl Harbor, that was a pretty anger event. People were pretty mad about that. 40 years later, they're saying, yeah, let's get drunk and, put up the enemy's battle flag. So I said, any day now, I'm waiting to have, some synagogue put up a bunch of swastika flags and being like, yep, we're, just to make fun of the Nazis. I think it would be delightful to finally make fun of your enemy to where it's just, but it doesn't happen nearly enough, in my opinion.
What happened here, TJ, I don't know if you've seen this commercial yet, is Miracle Mattress, which is a San Antonio, Texas mattress store, put out this television commercial that is about 20 seconds long, and I do have the audio from it here, so I'm just going to play it, and you can't see it happening. You're sitting on the other side of the desk, but most of our listeners also can't see it, so that's fair.
That's fine.
So I'm going to play the audio. It's not the best audio, but here it is.
Remember 9/11? Then with the Twin Tower sale. Right now, you can get any size mattress for a twin price. Full mattress? Twin price. Queen mattress? Twin price. King mattress? Twin price. Store-wide sale all day long. Whoa!
Okay, so what she did there...
Oh my God. We'll never forget.
All right, so what she did there was she splayed her arms out wide, and she hits the two gentlemen behind her co-salesmen, and they fall into two towers of mattresses that are standing behind them, causing the towers...
I think that's delightfully amusing.
I think it was cute.
I think it's funny, but I could see how a lot of people are... I'm mad. And those people, instead of turning the channel or just ignoring the ad, they say, no, let's file a complaint with the FCC. This is offensive.
I don't think that the FCC was alerted to this.
We're making progress in America.
I don't think the FCC would have any jurisdiction over the content of a commercial like this. I don't think the FCC generally even pays any attention to commercial content unless it's saying the F word or something like that, and then that would... that would send people to let the FCC know they might start investigating. But what did happen, according to FoxNews.com, is that the folks behind the company, Miracle Mattress, started getting death threats on the internet over this, and they have now shuttered the store indefinitely after all of the angry people started to come out of the woodwork about this. Mike Bonanno, the owner of Miracle Mattress, said, quote, "We'll be silent through the 9/11 anniversary to avoid any further distractions from a day of recognition and remembrance for the victims and their families."
He said employees of the store had received several death threats after the 20-second ad was released. The offending ad, and then they describe what happens in there. Charisse Bonanno was the female in the ad. She told San Antonio's NBC affiliate that the ad was a mistake. She said, quote, "We are not hate. We are love. We are somebody that stands out. We're Miracle Mattress. We make miracles happen. For our lives to be in danger, that's not what we ever wanted." Unquote. Mike Bonanno claimed the video was made without his knowledge. He told San Antonio's station WOAI that they would donate 30% of its sales over the weekend to the 9/11 Foundation before deciding to indefinitely shutter the store.
That's what I like to see. That's how you know they're truly sorry. They're willing to put their money where their mouth is and say, we're sorry, we're offended our customers. They're groveling. And we need to see more of this out of the government, because how many times does the government make a mistake? Do you ever see them like, we are so sorry that we messed this one up and somebody died because of it? No. It's always like, mistakes were made and we're going to have a 3-panel blue ribbon commission investigate it, and they'll release a report saying that there were all kinds of mistakes, and nobody's going to get fired, nobody's going to get demoted or lose their job or get fined or be suspended. We're going to remember when Charlie Rangel went on and he's like, they're going to censure him. Well, is he going to go to jail? No. Is he going to pay any money? No. We're going to put a letter that said, you've been a very naughty boy. And this is the strongest form of punishment Congress can issue. I'm just thinking, what if Charlie Rangel just comes in and kills somebody? Is there any kind of punishment you can inflict on him? Because the law says you can't arrest somebody.
Well, state representatives and congresspeople and those people have special privileges. But anyway, back to the story
here.
Anyway,
I was just kind of going off on a rant there.
Right. So let's stick on the topic here,
yes,
which is about people being upset over this video that has come out. The owner of the store said, quote, "Our intentions were to not hurt anyone at all. Our staff is full of military, and some relatives have passed away due to 9/11. We're promoters of peace and love. We've given abundantly to our community here in San Antonio and wish to remain known as a company who respects and loves others. We hope you find it in your hearts to forgive us. Please accept our apology." However,
that's a very nice one.
Their apology was not well received. Some of the Facebook users had some nasty things to say. Death threats were issued. Now the store is closed. Is it too soon to be making jokes about 9/11? Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us here on Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition. I say no, it's definitely not too soon. Make a joke whenever you darn well feel like it. You shouldn't be afraid to make a joke about something that's happened in life. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. Like 60% of you, I'm not impressed by the two-party system. It's a dinosaur. It's outmoded and no longer reflects today's America. Two-party politics doesn't work, and it hasn't worked for anybody but itself in decades. If we the people are wise, we will never again elect another president from within the entrenched, corrupt, co-opted two-party system. The office of president should serve the needs of everyone equally, with respect and with fairness. I did it as governor, I'll do it as president. Google me. 60% of you have said you want another choice in 2016, and now you have one in me. We the people have a chance to do something in 2016 that may not come around again in our lifetimes. We have a legitimate chance to elect one of our own to the highest office in the land. Give me your vote one time and see what a difference one election can make.
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. Is it too soon to be making 9/11 jokes? And, well, if you think it's too soon, then is there a point at which it'll be okay? Are you upset by this offensive commercial that many people found offensive? I found it kind of cute and funny. TJ, you thought it was
I thought it was cute.
Funny.
I remember, as a mathematician, the problem is I'm just not very, 9/11 does not register on my fear radar at all, because if you just take 3,000 people that were killed in the United States and you divide it by 300 million Americans, it's like 1 in 100,000 risk of death in 10 years.
Well, a lot more people certainly die in their cars every single year here in the United States. But if you had somebody die, let's say a loved one of yours was actually in one of the towers and they perished on that day,
then that would be different.
Would you still think this was
I probably would
cute?
feel differently, but that's an emotional decision, not one based in mathematics or logic. That's just
people don't make their decisions based on logic for the most part. They make their decisions based on emotions.
I've noticed a lot of people make decisions for things called emotions, and they're very perplexing to me. I'm just going, wow, that's totally illogical, dude. Why are you doing that? I'm in love.
So you'd asked the question, and it was actually during the break, and I thought it was a good question to people who are upset by this, and we'll play the audio again a little bit later, but to people who are upset by the Miracle Mattress commercial, why?
Yeah, why?
What is it about it? Why is it that it upsets you? You can answer that. You can also bring up anything you want. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go to Will. He's in Seattle. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Will. Hello? Do we have Will in Seattle? Will going once? Will going twice. We may have some fun.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we have you now. Go ahead, Will.
Okay. So about this joke that the mattress company made, my personal feelings, I think it's wrong to joke about the death of really, any innocent life. But I can see how people can find comedy in tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. And it's freedom of speech, freedom of expression. What I'm really concerned with is the amount of people that are so quick to harass somebody else and to, threaten the life of somebody else over a joke, over the death of an innocent. It just seems to be a little bit, I don't know, what's the word?
Well, I'm not sure what word you're looking for, but...
it's just wrong.
It's outrageous. I mean, that somebody would supposedly in support of the dead, threatened to kill someone else, right? That's kind of the point you're making.
Yeah, exactly. So hypocritical is the idea I'm kind of thinking of. It's like you're going to get mad at somebody for making a joke about the death of somebody, but you're going to threaten the life of that person who did nothing more than speak their mind. And to me, the real concern is how many of these people don't value their neighbor's right to free speech. And that's the biggest issue, I think.
Okay, so you can still value free speech, but yet disagree with speech that you don't like, right? Like you could still speak out against free speech. Now, the wrong way to do that is to threaten the life of the person who's speaking. But aside from, I'm sure the death threats were a small minority of the amount of feedback that this company got. It was likely just a lot of angry feedback, people who were upset, who wanted to let the company know, well, I'm never going to buy a mattress there in my life, or, whatever it was that they said to inform them of their upset. And that's also free speech, is to, come back to somebody who said something you don't like and let them know that,
Well, and the market directly responded in the way they felt about the business decisions there. So, I mean, that's kind of what happens when a business makes a guess or takes a chance.
Yep, they took a big chance on this one. In my opinion, it was a mistake. I mean, for a company to do something like this was pretty brazen, and they probably should have seen this coming, that it was going to be offensive to a lot of people who watched it. And generally, if you're in business, you don't want to offend a large chunk of your potential buyers. I mean, in the mattress business, how often does somebody buy a new mattress? Once a decade? Maybe once every 20 years or something like that? It's pretty infrequent that a person will buy a mattress. Technically, they're consumables. They're not going to last forever, but they do last for a long time. Many good mattresses come with a 10-year plus warranty. So it's not like, these people are going to keep coming back in. And if you all of a sudden just shut out a good chunk of potential mattress buyers, your store is likely going to go under. So, I mean, from a business perspective, this was a mistake. But as far as, like, if somebody were to just make this parody and put it online, I would think that would have been pretty funny.
Well, I would say this does.
Exactly.
I mean, it's funny because we throw around free speech, and this is not actually free speech in the legal sense of the term. So if the government were to say, this isn't funny, you're under arrest for making a joke about 9/11, we're going to seize your store and throw you in jail.
That would be really disturbing.
That would be an impingement on free speech.
Correct.
But free speech doesn't mean I can say whatever I want and you can't be mad at me. So if I insult you to your face, sure, you can't punch me. The law says you can't punch me. But at the same time, there is this street-level justice that goes on where it's like, well, dude, what do you expect? You were both drunk. You insulted his girlfriend, and he hauled off and decked you. I think it's all even. We all worked out the bad vibes, and let's move on. And the police or something, it's funny, you'll have these situations where the government gets involved, and everybody's saying, look, I consider the matter settled. I punched him. We got it worked out. And the government saying, nope, you disorderly misconduct. You beat each other. I'm like, Your Honor, my client was drunk. The other guy was drunk. They both consented to fighting. That's how they wanted to resolve their conflict.
Well, in some places, consensual combat is actually illegal, and I believe
that's why I love Ultimate Fighting
Championship. Isn't that Washington State, Will, where you live? Isn't it legal to actually, like, in the streets, throw down with somebody if it's consensual on both sides?
Yeah, not force.
From what I understand, I actually have a buddy who got into a fist fight just a couple weeks ago with some kids at a skate park, and the kids just decided, no, we're not going to press charges, and they let him go. So it's really like nothing came of it.
Well, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Mutual combat is what it is called, according to FightState.com. Mutual combat law in Washington lets two people have a consensual street fight. Oh, if the cops referee. Now, I've seen video of this.
Yeah. Imagine making that 911 call. Office, dispatch, we need a SWAT unit down here to referee a fist fight.
Well, I've actually seen video of this happening, which is how I know that it's true.
God bless America.
There was a video
Sometimes I have hope.
It was Phoenix Jones, who's one of the superheroes. I don't know if you know about this, but there's like a kind of a thing in some cities. Like in Seattle, there's people who dress up in spandex or whatever, and they've got an actual like superhero kind of costume, and they go around and try to stop real criminals. And at one point, somebody wanted to throw down with Phoenix Jones, who's one of the superheroes in Seattle, And the cops were right there, and both sides consented, and the cops just observed the fight, and that was it. Everybody got to go home after that. Nobody was arrested. So I think we need to have more consensual laws like that to allow two adults to do things together that are of consent.
Yeah, and my of course, when I was in high school, I would always be bullied. So they'd be like, you're going to fight even though you don't want to. And I'm like, well, no, that's wrong because you're physically stronger than me. You're going to win. I mean, in a mental contest, I'm going to win, but I don't want to fight. I just want to be left alone. And these bullies would insist on smashing my face in a locker. And I said, you know what? I'm so glad being an adult now because now I just carry a concealed firearm. I never have a problem. They don't bother me. I don't bother them. Life is so much better with a gun.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, which you can legally have in New Hampshire, but in other places it's a little more difficult. You can take control of the airwaves. Are you upset by the mattress commercial? We'd love to hear why. You can share your thoughts with us on Free Talk Live.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free to join us here live Saturday edition of the program. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Some operators of a mattress store in San Antonio, Texas, have had their lives threatened over what's just kind of a cute, fun commercial that, all right, it does poke fun at the 9/11 tragedy, which is now 15 years ago as of tomorrow. A lot of people are upset about this. Apparently, enough are upset to where the store's apology didn't really work out. They received enough death threats to where they are shutting down indefinitely. So we don't know if the Miracle Mattress Company is going to reopen at any point in San Antonio, Texas. But according to their YouTube channel, they've been posting videos there for about a year, and they put some of their other commercials up. Now, the actual video that we played for you earlier, and we can play the audio again here in a little bit, was recorded off of someone's TV set, which is why it doesn't sound very good. So it was just somebody pointing their camera at the TV set while the commercial played. That's the best version of that I could possibly find. But they've got other commercials that they've made that they put on their YouTube channel, and they all have sort of that same kind of, I guess, high-energy, silly factor that the offensive one did. So here's what their 4th of July sale
edgy.
was.
I think offensive is Johnson. We're going to say it's edgy. It's provocative. Like a lot of people, they use
That's a good point. Yeah, it was
these mushy
provocative.
words. I just say it's obnoxious. I don't like it. But that's how I am. I just say, oh, it seems kind of cute to me. But other people are like, oh no, it's urban. It's edgy. We have these words that are kind of like what we're really meaning to say. And I just say, yeah. So I said, we need to start doing that. So,
well, right. I didn't find it offensive, so you're right. I guess I shouldn't call it offensive.
Provocative.
Provocative,
It's
I think, would be the right word. I don't know how many people thought real hard. It seems like there's a lot of angry people who aren't thinking at all about this. But if you're upset, I would like to hear from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go to the phones first, and I'll give you another taste of one of their other commercials so you can compare the two. Dave is in New Hampshire, though. Dave, you can also bring up anything. Go ahead.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Well, there's a website that I had not heard of before in Manchester called ManchesterInformation.com. Now, before you go there, I have to warn you that when I tried to go there, I got a malware warning.
Okay.
But what's interesting is what they reported yesterday, or at least, they reported it recently, and I saw it on their Facebook page, and that is they're claiming that Manchester PD is going to be hiding all of their scanner traffic, like encrypting all of it.
Yeah, I heard about that. I saw the post on Facebook about this. I don't know if it's true or not. People seem to believe the claim. It's not unbelievable that they have gotten some federal grant for some really fancy upgraded system that would allow, would make it very, very difficult for someone, even with the right equipment, to actually decode their transmissions. So there's been some argument over whether or not they're actually going to be truly encrypted, or if they've just gotten a new system that people haven't really learned what system they're using yet. So I would say that at this point, there's still a question mark around this news. But what were your thoughts on it, Dave?
Well, not so much thoughts as more information. They also claimed that they talked to the chief, and the chief said they were concerned about anti-police people monitoring the police or coming out with cameras.
No. First of all, and so Dave, I'm familiar with APCO 25, which is the digital standard that they're replacing all the analog UHF and VHF radios with.
That's what they use here in Keene, is APCO 25, yes. But it's relatively easy to decode.
There's unencrypted, yes, unencrypted APCO 25. Now they have encryption support. And that's what there was a guy named Matt Blaze at the University of Carnegie Mellon, I believe. He actually showed that some of these encrypted radios that the DEA and the FBI were using, they were trackable. So you could tell that the radio's in the area, but you couldn't tell what the agents were saying to each other. And it was just an absolute disaster, because here you have these $2,000 radios, but they were so complicated to program. He would say, we'd have DEA search team in one getting in position. So you turn the scanner on, and they wouldn't turn the encryption on. The thing would be thing, but they'd have the switch flipped in the wrong position. So they'd be encrypt and clear, and they'd have their switches on to clear because it was too hard to configure the encryption. I mean, you've used PGP before.
But once you configure it, you'd think it'd be set up, right? I
mean, well, no, because someone would be like, darn it, my radio's not working with the encrypted setting. Let's just all switch to clear so we can talk to each other. And so, the NSA, we did the same thing. We had MACOM triple DES encrypted radios because obviously if you're the NSA police, you'll say 4 to 7 to comm center, breaking the alarm on research and engineering for exiting personnel. Alarm broken, go ahead. And then you can exit the building at night because they have the alarms. Well, I'd take the cars when I was in the motor pool, we'd take the NSA police vehicles in for their oil changes, and you're supposed to zeroize those radios, but they never would. So they would send the NSA police cars out into Jiffy Lube, and if someone wanted to, they could key up the radio and go like 4 to 7 to Central, breaking the alarm on R&E. And I said, I hope the guy in the alarm center knows that that's not a real cop on duty, because all he's going to see is it's a police radio, and it's
So what you're saying is the Jiffy Lube person could have done that.
Well, yeah, or I could have done it. I'd be, Smokey, this is the bandit we have.
Well, so what you're saying is the government's incompetence and laziness is likely going to make any kind of encrypted system moot.
Yeah, why special? The name of the paper is Why Special Agent Johnny Can't Encrypt, and it's just one of these things we've seen. Anytime we try to teach people to use encryption,
is this a publicly available paper?
Oh yes, so just Google it. Why Special Agent Johnny Can't Encrypt.
There you go, Dave. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Before we go on with your calls, though, just since Dave brought up this issue of police scanners, I think that police scanners are absolutely something that every community should have.
Yeah.
There should be the ability to hear what is going on, and further, it should be recorded. People in the community should have their own copy of what goes out over that police channel. And many areas don't have this. Some areas have a scanner feed, but not a recorded feed. Others don't have anything whatsoever. So that, I think, is a really important thing. It's about government transparency, really.
Yes.
I mean, these people do not deserve privacy.
If you think that the Keene PD are in any way equipped to deal with high-level drug traffickers, they're not, because high-level drug traffickers, they can spend $100,000 on a Stingray that will track every GSM cell phone within a mile or two radius. And here's what you do. If you're, as a spy, you're being followed. You want to know if you're being followed? There's a couple of pieces of software. Record every MAC address on your Wi-Fi card, every IMEI on your GSM cell phone, every FastPass ID if you have one of those EasyPass transponders. Record the license plate. We have LPR cameras now. You can put them on the car. You just drive around randomly, and if you keep seeing the same set of license plates, like if you see the same license plate 5 or 6 times and you're going randomly from point to point with no purpose, well, somebody's following you, because the chances that somebody would be seen in Manchester, and then you're in Portsmouth an hour later, and then you're in Brattleboro, and that you just keep seeing these same people that have no reason to be following you, and that's called a surveillance detection route. And that's what every good spy will do. They move into town. They go.
And you think high level drug dealers are aware of those kinds of things? That level of technology.
Of course they are. I mean,
I think you give them a little more credit than even I would. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts here. Jim is on the line in Delaware. Jim, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and TJ.
I used to listen to the police radio growing up. We used to have a list of the codes so we know what the cops were talking about.
That's right.
Remember that?
Oh, I remember.
Anyway, I remember as a child there used to be a law against threatening someone's life. How come that's not being used anymore?
You're referring to our initial topic about the mattress store that has received multiple death threats. Well, I mean, in theory, it is illegal for that to happen. But, of course, if somebody's hiding behind their computer screen and they are using anonymity software or whatever to send those threats, it's highly unlikely they're going to be caught. Now, how many people who send death threats are aware of protecting their privacy? I don't know. Many of them are probably just stupid enough to use their own Facebook account. So it's possible that the police are investigating those death threats.
Although I will tell you, if you're a neo-Nazi and you go down saying, I put out neo-Nazi propaganda and now I'm getting death threats from people, the cops probably are not going to investigate too hard.
Yeah.
But legally, you have every right to say anything obnoxious. And all I can say is,
you don't have a right to threaten somebody's life.
No, but you have a right to be obnoxious. Not to threaten somebody's life, but to be obnoxious, sure. And
you can insult the people. You can say, I thought your commercial was terrible and that you're ugly.
And your mama wears combat boots and everything else. But I just say, well, okay, if you got it all out
Hold
of your
that
system.
thought, TJ. Jim, thanks for your call. More coming up here, 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number. Join us on Free Talk Live.
Message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may bring up what you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Did you see the mattress commercial that is kind of poking fun at 9/11? And were you upset? We'd love to hear from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Now, that mattress company in San Antonio, Texas, has closed its doors indefinitely. So we don't know if they're going to come back. They are facing, their employees and their owners are facing death threats from people who, I guess, believe that the way to remember 9/11 is by threatening to kill more innocent life. Very strange. Anyway, it's Ian and TJ in the studio here with you. You can share your thoughts with us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We'll get right back into your calls here. But I also want to let you know about another important phone number. This one is a number that will actually allow you to listen to Free Talk Live anytime you want. So obviously we have our live hours. We do the show live 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. And you can all obviously listen live over at freetalklive.com and through over 170 radio stations around the country on satellite as well. But if you want to listen anytime via your phone, we actually have a listen line, and it's an audio-on-demand listen line. Not only is Free Talk Live available, but close to a dozen shows from LRN.FM. A bunch of great liberty-oriented shows are also available on that audio-on-demand line. So here's that number. It's 641-793-9660, 641-793-9660. You call up. You can listen to Free Talk Live and all those other shows, but also you can listen to the LRN.FM live feed. And if you feel so inclined, you can, at any point while you're listening, press 0, and then it'll give you a voicemail prompt, and you can leave us a message. That message will be delivered to multiple hosts of the show, and we might just play it on the air. So keep that in mind. The number, 641-793-9660. That in your phone. Now remember, it's a long-distance number, so if you have to pay for long distance, you probably don't want to call it. But if you've got unlimited long distance, like most everybody seems to have these days with cell phone plans, then you're good to go. You can listen as much as you want, and it won't cost you anything. 641-793-9660. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. We got Dana on the line in Grand Rapids, Michigan, listening to WTKG. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Hey there.
I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on you guys, but just hear me out.
I'll go right ahead. We'll listen.
I find it rather ironic and hypocritical that you think that they didn't do more to Charlie Rangel or any of our political people who do wrong. And I agree with you. I think he should have been locked up for life. And I mean life, because they know better. Nobody but lawmakers know better, and it is deliberate and with intent and great planning to hide and do illegal things that both sides of the aisles have done for many, many years. So we're on the same page there. But when you say that, then you say that, you can laugh at something like this. Part of the reason why we have problems with our politicians and just in general is because there is no more seriousness, gravity of the situation type, topic. Nothing, there's no holds barred on anything. I don't understand what is funny about me standing in a building and deciding, am I going to burn to death, burn alive, or jump to my death, not being able to say goodbye to my family and friends. Even if people weren't in buildings or in those planes, I wouldn't understand. Why would it be funny to see destruction, just the building fall because maybe the architects miscalculated the load, bearing on the structure.
I don't think anybody.
Well, I can tell you why. I can tell you why.
But
I
one
find
more
it funny.
thing. One more thing before you guys answer.
Okay.
I don't think that I want to buy a mattress from people who are stupid. And the reason why I call them stupid is because in San Antonio, there is at least 7 military bases. What a dumb place to air a local commercial. Okay, I'm waiting for your
response. Go ahead,
response.
TJ, with your response to her.
Well, I find it funny because, every day I go out and at any moment someone could just say, I don't like that dude, pull out a gun and shoot me. And I didn't do a thing wrong to them. They just decided they're having a bad day and they're going to take me and everybody else they see with them. And there's nothing I can do. I live in a free society where, that's the part of the price of living in a free society is that somebody could set off a car bomb and I had nothing to do with it. I'd be walking down the street one day, and that was the thing I realized I was very different. Like when I started work at the NSA, we had the DC sniper shootings like 1 or 2 weeks after I entered on duty, and all my coworkers, they're ducking and diving and weaving. There's a sniper on the loose. And I'm like, well, look, there's 1 million something people in this city. So if I'm just walking down the street in DC one day and he picks me at random, it's my time to go, and I'm not going to worry about it. But people, I understand, make a big deal about it, and I find it amusing that people worry about things that probably aren't going to kill them. So on the things that you should be worried about and terrified, like cigarettes, alcohol, slipping in your bathtub, deer. Deer are psychotic killers. They kill women and children a lot.
By running out in front of cars?
In front of cars, right. And, I mean, we're not afraid of deer. We're not afraid of the car. We're not afraid of the bathtub. The list of things I'm afraid of, terrorism really is not on them. And I just realize a lot of people, it's an emotional thing. They see the towers coming down, and they just feel panicked.
Well, and I can understand what Dana was saying, though.
Different.
Okay, but I'm going to throw my response in here, Dana.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So I can understand what Dana was saying. Like, this isn't funny. The choice of burning alive or jumping out of a building. These aren't funny things while they're happening to those people. No doubt about it.
And they're not funny to her. To me, it's funny because I just look at it through a different lens. I look at it through the lens of mathematics.
But you said that you made and I don't get the correlation, even from a mathematic or a logical train of thought. You made the correlation, well, people die from cancer, people die from car accidents, so many people die every day in this country, blah, 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 blah.
And there are jokes about all of those things. I'm sure I can type in cancer jokes right now and, get some pretty offensive jokes.
The difference is we were attacked. And if
I was not attacked.
I'm in this country. I'm an American.
Yeah.
We were attacked. Our way of life was attacked.
You feel attacked.
If you were attacked in some way, it's because the government has destroyed your way of life. The terrorists didn't do anything to destroy your way of life.
Okay, let me explain to you how women communicate. She has said to you, Ian, I felt attacked, and that is true. You can't say,
she said we were attacked, which is different. I wasn't attacked.
You're doing it from a man's perspective. Like, I don't feel the same way. You should feel the way I feel. And I'm like, well.
No, I didn't say anything about how she should feel. She can feel however it is she wants to feel. But it's not true that we were attacked. I was in Florida in my bed when this happened. I was definitely not attacked.
Yeah.
If somebody that I had loved had died, that would be absolutely tragic. But I would like to think that wouldn't have ruined my sense of humor. And ultimately, what we're talking about here is dark humor. That's what we're talking about. And there's dark humor about a lot of topics.
Hasn't. I appreciate that. Like the movie Fargo, that was a black comedy.
Oh, very much so, yes.
I get that. I totally understand that. But what I'm saying is, if everything is funny, then nothing is taken serious. If nothing is taken serious, then we get the government that we have.
Thank you, Dana, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Okay, not everybody is going to start cracking jokes instantly after the 9/11 incident occurs, after the towers fall. But somebody will. TJ, I mean,
probably me, and then everyone gets mad, and then
it was probably within 24 hours when the first 9/11 jokes started coming out. It was probably relatively close after the last tower fell that people started cracking jokes, because for some people that's how they process these kind of incidents. Is they try to find some sort of kernel of humor in them to try to not go insane with how serious they could be taking them. So if you want to share your thoughts with us here, we're available. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's talk to Dave. He's in San Francisco listening online. Hello, Dave.
Oh, hi. I was just kind of frantically trying to find a video I saw, and I was going to ask your guest if he was familiar with this concept. I haven't found the exact title of it handy, although it's similar to one that's called 9/11, JFK to 9/11, it's all a rich man's game. But there's another more extensive video that describes how 10 years before 9/11, the CIA put together a fake bond issue. There really was money, but it was not an authorized bond issue worth almost $250 billion. This video, I've seen it on YouTube, and if I remember right, Black Eagle Trust is a part of the convolution of it. And essentially, the CIA was trying to buy up all of the assets of the former Soviet Union. The Soviet Union had fallen apart about a year before 1991. And so the CIA was going around what was now Russia and buying up all of the farmland.
All right, you're going to have to hold that thought here. We'll continue and find out what you're driving at in hour number 2 of the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is down $7 at $1,331 per ounce, and silver is 28 cents lower at $19.39 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $619 US. Check out our selection of Royal Canadian Mint products, beautiful bars and coins with enhanced security features. For more information, call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 10th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,328 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $626. Antiwar.com reports at least 4 Turkish airstrikes were carried out against targets in northern Syria, described as the Islamic State quarters in 4 regions in northern Syria. Casualties are unclear, but Turkish media claimed at least 1 the Islamic State fighter to have been killed. The strikes included areas in and around Tel Ali, and Turkish media claimed that Turkish-backed rebels linked to the Free Syrian Army had captured the region away from the Islamic State over the course of Friday's offensive. Turkey invaded northern Syria late last month with an eye toward securing a 90-kilometer strip of the border for the rebel faction. They've taken the territory strictly along the border and have been pushing further south over the past few days, deeper into the Islamic State territory. As the Islamic State starts to run out of nearby territory, the next likely targets are to be Kurdish territory along the Euphrates River, with Turkey making repeated demands for the Kurdish YPG to cede all territory west of the river and rejecting U.S. claims that the Kurds have already done so. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Minnesota Democrats have filed a lawsuit seeking to have Donald Trump and Mike Pence kicked off the ballot in November after the state party failed to follow election laws in selecting the slate of electors that will appear. The matter stems from a legal technicality involving alternate delegates to the Electoral College. The Minnesota Constitution states Electoral College delegates and their alternates must be elected at the party's convention. The GOP picked its Electoral College delegates at the party convention on August 24th, but did not pick alternates. When the party submitted its ballot paperwork on the day of the deadline, August 29th, it did not include that information. Party leaders were forced to scramble and did not have time to reconvene a state convention to fix the oversight, so the slate of alternates was chosen by the party's executive committee. The oversight caused a brief panic when the presidential ticket did not appear on a list on the Minnesota Secretary of State website on the day of the deadline. Now, Democrats in the state have filed a suit in the Minnesota Supreme Court arguing that the Republicans cut corners. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Voluntary Islam. Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and other essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Private Chelsea Manning, serving a 35-year prison term for passing classified files to WikiLeaks, said on Friday that she would refuse to eat until given help for her gender dysphoria and treated with dignity, respect, and humanity by the government. The 28-year-old Army private, who was born male but revealed after being convicted of espionage that she identifies as a woman, tried to commit suicide in July over what her representative said was the government's denial of appropriate treatment for gender issues. The Army announced later that month that it would investigate Manning for misconduct in connection with the attempt to take her own life, a probe that could lead to indefinite solitary confinement, reclassification into maximum security, or additional prison time. Manning said in a statement released by a spokeswoman, "I need help. I needed help earlier this year. I was driven to suicide by the lack of care for my gender dysphoria, and I have been desperate for it. I did not get any. I still haven't gotten any. I'm no longer asking. Now I'm demanding." As of 12:01 a.m. Central Daylight Time on September 9th, 2016, and until I am given minimum standards of dignity, respect, and humanity, I shall refuse to voluntarily cut or shorten my hair in any way, consume any food or drink voluntarily except for water and currently prescribed medications, and comply with all rules, regulations, laws, and orders that are not related to the two things I have mentioned. Manning said in her statement that she was prepared mentally and emotionally to endure an indefinite hunger strike, even if it proved fatal. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
NASA announced the discovery of a mile-wide asteroid this week that could potentially trigger a global level of extinction, forcing upscale fashion retailer Nordstrom out of business. Researchers confirm that the celestial object is traveling at speeds exceeding 29,000 miles per hour, threatening to slam into the planet with more than 1 million megatons of force, enough to jeopardize operations at all 117 full-line Nordstrom locations.
Unless we can find some way to divert or intercept the asteroid, all 7 billion people on Earth, including all 62,500 Nordstrom employees, may die. Even if the asteroid breaks into smaller pieces upon entering to the atmosphere, a death toll as low as several hundred million could still slow foot traffic in stores and reduce online orders from Nordstrom's subsidiary Hot Look.
Humanity is surprised it still hasn't figured out an alternative to letting power-hungry assholes decide everything, and a magical office worker is able to turn everything he touches into more work for his colleagues.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Launching into the second hour of this live Saturday edition of the program with you in studio tonight. It's Ian
and DJ the Spy.
We've been talking about the mattress store in San Antonio, Miracle Mattress, that is now shut down indefinitely. By their choice, they decided they were going to close their doors rather than have their 9/11 mattress sale this weekend, which apparently offended a lot of people. We'll get back into that discussion here. You're still welcome to comment on, kind of offensive jokes. When is it too soon to start cracking jokes about tragedy? Are you upset by the commercial? You can tell us why. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And again, 855-450-3733. But we had Dave on the line in San Francisco, and he was calling about something about the CIA, and I'm not sure how this ties in or if it does at all, but that's okay.
Well, I was actually about to say, so did you say, Dave, the number was $250 $250 billion or a quarter billion?
It's something like 248 billion.
Okay.
So it would be about a
And you said they put
trillion.
forward a fake bond?
Yeah, and that bond issue ran out on September 12th of 2001.
And
So
what
it
you
was
had
a
said,
10-year
just to bring our listeners up to speed, what you said was the CIA put out a fake bond to raise money to buy old Russian military assets?
No, not just military, but everything. Farmland, oil, mineral rights, the apartment complexes, factories. $250 billion.
What is a fake bond? I mean, I don't even know what that means.
Well, it was an unauthorized bond issue.
But it was it was real in that they were trying to get money for bonds?
First of all, I found the title of it. It's a very generic kind of name. It's the name of this video on YouTube is 9/11 Conspiracy Solved, Names, Connections, and Details Exposed. And in it, I was just watching it during the news there, and about the 20-minute point, it talks about L. Paul Bremer. And if you remember right, Bremer was George Bush's college roommate. And it talks about his ties. He was in one of the offices that was actually, his office was in one of the windows, basically, that was hit. And he just happened to not be there, and then he all of a sudden got on the network news that very morning and gave the whole scenario of Obama.
So what does 9/11 have to do with the bonds that the CIA allegedly issued?
So the story is, in this video, that this fake bond issue, which was not authorized by the U.S. government, it was not backed by anything. This $250 billion worth of assets were used to basically go throughout the former Soviet bloc and buy up everything they could get. And they basically used, to profiteer. But see, that's the whole point. Who owns the former Soviet Union now? Because these guys did not intend for this money to go toward, the enriching America. It was people who used American collateral falsely, ended up buying apartments, farmland, mineral rights, all sorts of things throughout the former Soviet Union. So you've gotten
this story just from some conspiracy video on YouTube. Is there any real evidence for these claims?
Watch the video, and they name names. They give all of these details.
They name names. Have we interviewed any of these people? Like so-and-so, let's go talk. Is this true?
If what you're telling me is that the CIA is currently managing $250 billion worth of Russian property as of, way back in the day.
That's the only problem is, as a man of numbers, $250 billion. So that's the annual intelligence budget of the NSA, the CIA, all 15 intelligence agencies combined, $40 billion a year. The U.S. military, $600 billion a year. That includes military.
And that's current numbers, right?
Yes, that's current numbers.
We're talking 1991.
Yeah, so you'd be talking
$250 billion in 1991.
So the CIA
is even more fantastic.
would have 10 times the entire annual budget of all the intelligence agencies combined. And let me tell you, the NSA, we always insist on having the biggest, as far as dollar amount. We have by far and away the biggest dollar amount spent. Now
You used to work for them, by the way.
Yes. So people say how much.
Hold on, I'd like to hear TJ's thoughts on this. Go ahead, TJ.
So the only thing is, I can say, not saying it's impossible, but generally when you're dealing with that kind of money, it's kind of hard to hide an operation that big. Somebody would notice something, and you would have a disgruntled CIA employee saying, "Hey, I got fired, and by the way, here are the documents." And you had Edward Snowden type situation. Mm-hmm. The real way the government's mad is when they start arresting people. So Edward Snowden, the more they try to get him, the more it's like, yep, I guess what he's saying is the truth, because he really tried throwing him in jail.
I mean, look, I'm not saying that what your claims are necessarily false, Dave, but they sound pretty unbelievable just on their face.
Think of Rumsfeld. The day before 9/11, Rumsfeld gave a press conference, and he admitted that the Pentagon was missing $1 trillion. Actually, some people say it's $2.5 trillion. I've seen it as $1.5 trillion. Some people say it's $2.5 trillion. But the Pentagon was missing some massive amount, at least 6 times bigger than what we're talking about. And maybe
$2 trillion, that's the entire expenditure of the entire federal government for 1 year. So
you know it, yeah.
Well, but why would the Pentagon be missing money? I don't understand how that would have any connection with the CIA issuing a bond.
Well, again, you watch the video, and they give
I'm not going to. I'm really not. I'm not going to spend time watching it. And if that's all you got, I'm going to let you go. Thanks, Dave, for the call tonight. It just sounds, completely implausible that the CIA. I mean, why would he said for profiteering? You just want to buy some cheap properties and then what?
So
flip
here's
them later?
a plausible. If you want a conspiracy story that's plausible. The CIA spent $10 million to pay for a bunch of top secret. Like, this is just, I'm just hypothetically making something up that sounds believable to me as a spy. There's a former Russian nuclear scientist, and he has said he has knowledge of Soviet weapon designs. He can provide 15 kilograms of highly enriched plutonium for one warhead. He's willing to defect to the highest bidder. The Russians can't pay him because their government's in chaos. Do we really want this plutonium landing in the hands of the Saudis or the Upakistanis or the Albanians or some group that maybe today they're our friends, but tomorrow we might be fighting them? And the CIA, they always said, remember, today's friend can be tomorrow's enemy. Serious to God, that's one case officer in the DO. He said, I had a crush on him, so yes, I was going down there enjoying some sushi. They have a sushi chef thing there. Anyway, the whole thing is, if we spend $10 million to get some uranium or some documents or maybe a piece of military technology, that does happen. I mean, we have to develop our planes, the F-22. We have to be able to jam Soviet radars. So how do we get a Soviet radar? Well, we just buy one. We pay somebody who's not getting paid enough in this Russian government, and we'll say, hey, steal that truck and bring it on over.
Sure, but you don't need $250 billion for that.
You need $1 million, $2 million. Yeah.
I mean, do you agree that it seems like an implausible
very implausible
story? Not only were the numbers ridiculous,
if it were real, you would need a lot less money. And why would you do all this when you can just, the Soviet Union, the big thing we were concerned about is we wanted a stable government. Because whenever communism collapses, like, we're deathly afraid. What happens if China has a collapse? What happens if Russia has another collapse?
Let's go to the phones here. Your calls and thoughts. Welcome on Whatever's on Your Mind. We got Ryan in Kentucky. Ryan, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah. Regarding, the situation with the mattress and all that, This is America. All right. Nothing wrong with having American pride. I think that's a good thing. But at the same time, we need to realize something. Jesse Ventura said something that was very accurate not that long ago. He said that the whole right to free speech was to protect unpopular speech.
That's correct.
We don't have problem when somebody says something that we can all agree with. I mean, that's free speech too. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But it's really written to protect the unpopular speech. They had every right to do it. Would I have done it? Probably not.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I respect their right to do it, even though I didn't personally agree with it.
Would it have affected your ability, or not your ability, but your willingness to purchase a mattress from the company?
If they had better mattresses, no, not at all. I'm being honest. I wouldn't. It all comes down to you're either free or you're not. I always default to that regardless of the situation. You're either free or you're not. And as long as you're not harming somebody or threatening harm, like apparently some people were doing to these people, then, people should be left alone.
I agree with you. Thanks, Ryan. Great call. Appreciate it. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Well, I mean, I would leave them alone, but some people decided they were going to let them know how they feel. Now, it's completely legitimate and free speech to let a company know how you feel about the things that they've done or said. When you cross into the line of threatening someone's life, however, then there's a problem. We can continue, and we'll play the audio for anybody who hasn't heard this provocative mattress commercial here in moments on Free Talk Live, and you can join us.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, dial toll free. Take control of the airwaves here, live Saturday edition. With you tonight, I'm Ian.
I'm TJ the Spy.
We've got a toll-free number for you, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, Skype username is LRN.FM. One of the ways you can help support Free Talk Live is by shopping with us. You get the stuff that you want through Amazon, and Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale. It's really simple. You're getting the same great selection and the prices, the reviews, everything you're used to from Amazon. You're just entering through our link, which is shop.freetalklive.com. And what you'll find there are links to Amazon Canada, UK, and US. So you go into the right Amazon for you, based on where you are, and then just order whatever it is you were going to order, and Free Talk Live gets a cut of it. It's really simple, and it makes a big difference for us. So please start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. The links to Amazon are there. Again, that's shop.freetalklive.com. For those of you just tuning in, I played the audio of this provocative mattress commercial at the beginning of the show. I'm just going to play it again. It's short, 20 seconds. Here it is, recorded off of someone's TV. I did some boosting to the levels on this version that I'm playing now, so it'll be easier to hear, but it still didn't sound great.
What better way to remember 9/11 than with a Twin Tower sale? Right now, you can get any size mattress for a twin price.
Full mattress?
Twin price.
Queen mattress?
Twin price.
King mattress?
Twin price.
Sounds like
Store
a good
right
deal.
sale all day long. We'll never forget.
So, this has upset quite a few people. What happens at the end there is she kind of swings her arms outward from herself, and it looks like she might have hit the two gentlemen behind her, and they sort of fall into these twin towers of mattresses that are behind them, and they knock the towers over. And it's all very, very exaggerated, very silly. It's not unlike their other commercials, which you can find on their YouTube channel, Miracle Mattress. They've got a huge 4th of July sale commercial, which is also very similar in kind of the style and the tone. It's very silly, and they're having fun. They're having fun making these commercials. And I guess they didn't think too hard on this one because they have really stepped in it. The store has closed down indefinitely as a result of this. The report coming from FoxNews.com. After issuing multiple apologies, the owner of the company said that he didn't even know about the video. It was made without his knowledge. But he said they would donate 30% of their sales from the weekend to the 9/11 Foundation. But then after that, they decided they were not going to actually even open up at all, and instead are now indefinitely shuttering the store. Some of the quotes that Fox has selected from their Facebook page say the following: "How utterly disgusting. Apology not accepted. I hope you go out of business. How anyone could think this was funny is beyond me. There is no excuse for this. We will never forget that horrible day. The pain of that day and the loss of the loved ones will always be with us. How sick."
I forgot it like a week or two after it happened, and then I remembered, oh, wait, I'm about to get – so the NSA, we had a $10,000 recruitment bonus, the War on Terror. Mm-hmm. And so the year 2002, they gave you $10,000 if you stayed for 1 year. And so everyone got their blue badge. After 1 year, we lost. All the mathematicians started quitting, and they started going to the contractors because they'd leave on a Friday making $70,000, and then come back on a Monday, same office, same boss, doing the exact same job, but then they'd be making $90,000 at Lockheed Martin or Booz Allen Hamilton or one of these contractors. And everyone kept saying,
so the feds were hiring them as contractors at a higher rate.
Yeah. And the thing is, the security clearance is what made the difference. There's this magical thing called a security clearance. It's a legal authority that they give you. Then I'll tell you, Ian, if you ever manage to get one of these things, you are set, because you will have every defense contractor like knocking on your door demanding a resume. Mm-hmm. I went to one of these classified job fairs, and as soon as they saw a national security agency, top secret SCI with full scope Bali,
it fell
background,
all over you, huh?
I had 50 resumes, and they were literally, "Oh, have you heard about our company?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm a BS in mathematics, a BS computer engineering. I'm a mathematician at the National Security Agency." And they say, "We don't care. We just need to know what's your education, bachelor's, how many years experience do you have? 2. Okay, we can bill you out at $75 an hour. We can offer you $40 an hour. And we just need 10 bodies on the project. So if we only need 1 engineer, but we need 10 bodies, because that's what the contract has." And so that always irked me, is that I would be tasked with someone who would be in the Army, who would be like 35, the age I am now. I was like 21 when I started. And he'd be making $100,000 a year. I was making $50,000 a year.
But you were doing all the work.
But I was doing all the work, and it kind of reminded me of a Dilbert cartoon where the guy Wally is, getting. This would make me laugh if it weren't the fact you're getting paid twice what I'm getting paid, and yet you can't even do 10% of the work.
Wow.
You would look at
government for you, right?
And he said, honestly, I hate computer programming. I took a class or 2 in college, and they hired me as a computer programmer. But it was exactly that. It was someone who could do very limited, like Hello World, very introductory semester. And to be any good at programming, you have to put in 10,000 hours of practice. It's a language.
Of course. That's true with almost anything.
You got to read a book on how to play the piano and then just go out and play
you got to put in
or whatever.
Your 10,000 hours. So if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And if you feel like that you're upset over this mattress commercial, would love to hear from you. We did get one caller, I think, in the last hour who was kind of upset about it.
I think she said we need to take it more seriously. And I said, well, there's a lot of sad things, angry things we could take seriously, and that's going to be a very long, miserable life.
Well, right. That's just it. If you keep taking tragedy seriously, because tragedy is always going to strike.
Yes.
No matter, it's only a matter of time. If it's not striking you at the moment, just give it time. It's life. Eventually, you're going to hit one of the downswings.
You are carrying a magical, life-changing device called a cell phone on your pocket. And one day you could get a call. Ian Freeman, my name's Trooper Gazer. I hate to tell you, but your family member was just killed by a drunk driver. My apologies. Or they'll show up in person, and it sometimes happens in life. You're living your life, totally no fault of your own, and all of a sudden something bad happens. And that's when people a lot of times fall apart. They go off the rails.
Right. I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to live in a depression because something bad happened to you or to the country or to the Twin Towers for the rest of your life? Or can you try to find some humor in it? And, you know, I appreciate the people that make these jokes. I understand some people are offended by them, but I think some people are looking to be offended by things. Like, it makes them feel alive to feel offended about something, whereas other people might feel like the jokes and the laughter makes them feel alive. So I think everybody's just seeking to have a sensation. Whether or not it's a similar sensation is, you know, a different question. So I have pulled up a list of, you know, a quick search for 9/11 jokes because, as I said, you know, as soon as the 9/11 attacks happened, somebody started writing jokes, and so you know, there's quite a few of them here. This is here's a pretty bad one. What's the last thing that went through the minds of the 9/11 jumpers?
Oh God,
their ankles. That's pretty black, morbid humor.
You know what would be going through my mind? Damn, I should have upgraded my life insurance policy because, you know, if I can get a $1.5 million policy, I'm pretty sure terrorist strikes. Nope. Is there can I get a waiver on my terrorist coverage?
Maybe you could call them on your cell phone before you jump.
Yeah, I'm about to die. Could you please give me a light? No, come on. You know, yeah. I mean, don't be a jerk.
Okay, but then you get this one here, TJ. What color were Muhammad Atta's eyes?
Uh-oh.
Blue. One blue this way, the other blue that way. See, now that's a joke that would likely make someone laugh who would otherwise be offended by the first joke. The first joke is a joke at the expense of the jumpers. The second joke is a joke at the expense of one of the attackers. And you better believe that a lot of these people who are upset about the mattress store would probably find the Muhammad Atta joke funny. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's all jokes are at somebody's expense. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So if it's okay to make jokes about the attackers, why isn't it okay to make jokes about everybody else that was involved? This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Teens radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST hosting.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up. Standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in, join us here on the live Saturday edition of the program. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves and bring whatever's on your mind at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know, we're talking about joking, about tragedy. Now, what started the conversation is this upsetting to some people commercial, a provocative commercial perhaps, as you were calling it earlier, TJ, by a mattress company in San Antonio. That the mattress company is now shut down indefinitely. If they'll come back, I don't know. And if they do come back, whether or not they'll ever be able to sell enough mattresses to pay their rent is another question, because a lot of people are upset by this commercial that advertises a twin tower sale and is very kind of lighthearted, fun commercial. They were having fun making it, obviously, and they clearly didn't really realize what would happen as a result of this. And they've become far more popular than they ever intended. No one had ever heard of Miracle Mattress, likely outside of San Antonio, Texas, before the last few days. And now a lot of people have heard of them. They've had to shut their doors. One of the reasons why is because they've been receiving death threats. So that's the true, real sick problem here. It's not sick that these people have made a joke of 9/11. Some people might be upset about it, but the real sickness is anybody who would threaten another person's life over making a bad joke.
I think, the thing is they probably should just take a few days, because the nice thing about angry people, it takes real dedication and energy to maintain a level of hate.
To stay there.
Deep.
To stay there.
It's so exhausting.
Yeah,
and that's
I agree.
why, like, you'll see incidents like, I remember the kerfuffles, somebody does something, and like the worst thing you can do is apologize right away. I remember one time my attorney said, look, if she wins and gets a judgment against you and we have to pay out, congratulate her. But if we win, just take my advice. She's going to be upset. She's not going to be with it. Just walk out of the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how lawyers sometimes know when people are not quite there. They like,
sounds like good advice.
That defendant is not, or that lady is not right there. She's really mad at you. And I just say, gee, Joe, I can't imagine why she would be mad, because she thinks that you are doing what I want telling. No, I'm just doing what the insurance company tells me to do. And so, yeah, I said, nobody, whenever I go to court, I've never seen somebody happy at court unless they're getting married. Or occasionally, if they're getting divorced, they might be giddy with joy.
Yeah, the only way you'd
But
be
very
happy at
rarely-
court is if you won some sort of judgment or something like that, or beat some criminal charges that
Yeah, those
were
people
hard
might
to
be.
beat.
But, yeah, like we hand out jury nullification flyers in front of the courthouse and say, hey, did you know that if you don't think the law deserves to be throwing someone in prison, yeah, you have every right. The government derives its power from us. And you know what? I think it's silly if someone's minding their own business, they're not bothering anybody, and they smoke cannabis, or they do a line of Adderall or whatever, or If alcohol, as long as they're not bothering anybody. Now, where I draw the line personally is if somebody drinks alcohol and they're drunk in public and they're being obnoxious, then they should be taken away to a quiet place and given a timeout. But other than that, I don't see why we have such this hang-up in society. That person's putting a chemical compound into their own body. And I'm like, well,
yeah, I tend to agree with you.
I thought I was an adult, so if I'm an adult, if I'm free, don't I get to make the decision of what I get to put in my body?
Seems obvious.
No, you don't.
So what you were saying about jury nullification, though, is the juror's right to vote their conscience in a case. So if you think the law itself is bad, you can vote not guilty. Anyway, the toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So we were talking about the mattress store, and that led into a conversation just about jokes, not bad jokes, but morbid jokes, jokes that are dark, jokes that frequently will come out relatively quickly after some sort of tragedy. And of course, the 9/11 one, now almost 15 years ago, as of tomorrow. That's still fresh in a lot of people's minds. It's still upsetting to a number of folks. But I don't think there is a minimum amount of time. I think it's appropriate, depending on the audience, to crack a joke right after something has happened. Because for some people, that's how they deal with tragedy, is to find the humor in it. And so there's a bunch of these 9/11 jokes. Most of them are just awful. Not awful in that they're
true,
but
they're
morbid.
poor taste.
But just not awful in that way. I just mean awful jokes. Just like, this is a terrible joke. But some of them are kind of funny, and some of them are pretty morbid. But one of the questions I had was about people who might find it funny, the joke about which way did Muhammad, or what color were Muhammad Atta's eyes? Blue. One blew this way, the other blew that way.
Yeah.
There's probably a ton of jokes at the expense of the terrorists, of the hijackers. And I don't think anybody would bat an eye if the mattress giant somehow made a mattress commercial that poked fun or made fun of the hijackers in some way. That wouldn't be offensive. They might even get additional sales if they were sort of pandering in that direction. But they didn't. They selected, more of the, we're going to make a cutesy joke about this. Oh, the towers of mattresses are falling over behind us. And they were having fun with it, but now they've had to shut their doors. You can share your thoughts with us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So when is it too soon? And if you think it's too soon right now on 9/11, do you think it'll ever not be too soon? Like, will there be a certain date at which okay, fine, go ahead and start cracking jokes about this tragic event? And, of course, if you are upset by the commercial, we'd love to hear from you. Let's go to Joe. He's in Dover. I don't know where in Dover, Delaware? Joe?
New Hampshire.
Dover, New Hampshire.
Up in between Maine and Vermont.
Welcome, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not sure what you guys think is funny and what you think isn't funny, and what you think, where you think appropriate jokes lie, where they don't lie.
Well, everybody's got their own opinions.
I can tell you where a funny joke lies with
me,
I
agree
but I
with
can't
you.
speak
That's
for anyone else.
Very simple answer is to say everybody has their own opinion, but that's not taking a stand on anything. So I'm asking you, is there anything that's not okay to joke about?
I'd say it's generally not okay to joke at somebody at their face if it's going to hurt them or provoke a panic reaction. And so a good example is Cody. I mean, when he gets drunk, he behaves in a very entertaining fashion. And so I'll just reenact him exactly with the emotional. And he's really embarrassed, but that's what's funny about it, because for me, it's like, who hasn't been there? Who hasn't been drunk and in that state where you're behaving in an embarrassing manner? And so everyone laughs, but am I being mean? No, because if it truly hurt him, I wouldn't make the joke. And he always knows that.
Yeah.
If he feels that I crossed the line, like, dude, that's a little too embarrassing or personal, I don't want that being publicly known, fine, I won't talk about it. But the moment you think it's
about
funny,
events, I mean, I don't think there's somebody dying or some sort of tragedy or whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with joking about that.
So Holocaust jokes are okay with you guys?
Well, in another 10, 20 years, there won't be anybody alive who actually experienced that tragedy.
So you didn't even answer my question.
Yeah, I'll answer
your question. Would I make
a
Holocaust joke? Not to somebody who I'd say.
I wouldn't make the joke personally, but I was watching a movie that is fairly provocative, fairly offensive in a lot of ways. It's called Postal, and they make some Holocaust jokes in there, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't laugh. I mean, it's not to say that I think that there was something funny about the Holocaust, but I've got a sense of humor, and I can, I know a funny joke when I hear one.
I think I figured it out. if you are gay or Jewish, you can make jokes about the Holocaust because you were killed in the Holocaust, just as black people can say the N-word, but white people can't. So we have this rule. If you're a member of the minority group that was crushed, that apparently appears to be some rule that people have come up with. I don't know. I prefer just not to make jokes that are going to
what are your
people mad.
rules, Joe?
So I'm just saying that you should respect other people's. There's certain rules about what you should do to other people and what is offensive and what's not. And within reason, I mean, it's okay to say that I would never make a joke about somebody else's religion or anything, their race or anything like that. But it just seems like there's a thinking philosophy out there that says you can joke about everything except these, 2 or 3 things. So for years, it's been okay to criticize the religious right and, people who were, Mormon fundamentalists, but now we have to tiptoe over Muslims and we have to tiptoe over
I think religious
Jewish
jokes are hilarious. I think there's a lot of funny things about.
Well, I'm just saying that Jewish Orthodox people too. I mean, this doesn't stop at one religion or another.
Yeah, I think that all religions have some very funny things about them, and I wouldn't hold back on laughing at a joke about those things either. There's a difference between what kind of jokes I might tell versus what I would laugh at as well. Thank you, Joe, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, and you can take control of the airwaves. This is Free Talk Live. You can tell a bad joke, too.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-929-5733. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-929-5733. 1-800-929-5733.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA-certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Following morning reports indicating that Philadelphia High School for the Performing Arts student Samantha Bylam deals with really weird social pressures on a daily basis, Onion reporters met with the 16-year-old dance student who described feeling regularly alienated from her peers for extremely bizarre reasons.
If you're not up to date on the latest urban street art or Esperanza Spalding albums, the other students will eat you alive. It can get pretty brutal. Just the other day, everyone cut class to go watch the $1 Million Quartet musical at the Forest Theater, but nobody told me. Now I'm the only one that hasn't seen Lance Guest's rendition of Folsom Prison Blues. It's humiliating.
According to Bylam, the school year shows no sign of letting up as she continues dealing with the everyday stresses of auditioning for the school's production of My Fair Lady, keeping up with the latest punk Afrofusion dance groups, and not having enough fishnet sleeves to wear throughout the week.
Honestly, I don't know how the other students deal with it.
Keep checking theonion.com for more as this story develops.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free to join us here. The live Saturday edition. It's Ian with you.
And DJ the Spy.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Some people, they don't like a good joke. Other people, they kind of like some jokes, not some others. Some people tell jokes about anything. And I'm not a joke teller because I'm terrible at remembering them. Like, whenever it is I hear a good joke, I can, I enjoy it. I think it's funny. But I'll never be able to actually retell the joke later on.
If you're a government employee and you want a good way to end your career, just say, oh, yeah, NASA, need another 7 astronauts. Oh, that
From
one.
the Challenger?
Yeah. And, well, in the Columbia later. So it's like, well, why? Yep, you guys need to figure out a way to keep killing the astronauts.
In fact, apparently some people...
And I was chastised, good sir. Someone said that was inappropriate for me to say, and I said, I think it's funny.
Well, one of the critiques of some of the 9/11 jokes was that they were Challenger jokes repackaged. So
most death jokes are just, so and so died, ha ha ha, and
right, it was an explosion. So the color of the eyes joke about Muhammad Atta, that could easily have been Christine. What's her name? The teacher in the Challenger. What was her name? Do you remember?
Oh, that school teacher in space.
Yeah.
No, I
think it was Christine something or other. But let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Jason's in Georgetown, South Carolina. Are you offended, Jason? Go ahead with your thoughts.
No, I'm not at all. I think it's another one of these cases where everybody's so worried about offending somebody else. And, I really think it's kind of ridiculous. I watched the commercial. I thought the sale was a good idea. I never even would have thought about the mattresses falling and the towers falling unless somebody brought that to my attention.
Really?
Just like the other guy was talking about the Holocaust thing, I think I wouldn't sit there and tell a bunch of Holocaust jokes in front of a room full of Jewish people, but if I'm sitting at home watching Glorious Bastards or something like that, I'm going to laugh my ass or my behind off.
Right. Yep. That was a funny movie.
I just think that everybody it's just getting ridiculous how offensive everybody is. Comedy is comedy, and you play to your groups or things like that. I just think we're just way too sensitive over every little thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I do agree with you that you should know your audience. Obviously, if you're going into, like you said, a room full of Jewish people, Holocaust jokes may not go over real well.
Right. And it wasn't the smartest commercial in the world, but is it really that bad? Is it, that bad to send a death threat? A boycott maybe if you want to, but a death threat or have a store permanently closed. Do you think about the people that work there? They've got families to feed and stuff like that, and they made one bad choice, and we're going to, shut a whole store down because of one bad joke. We're making jokes about the Titanic, the Hindenburg, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And where's I don't see people up in arms over that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, that's a great point.
There have been set groups.
That's an excellent point. There have been a lot of tragic events over time. Why is this one held up as this, untouchable event?
Because people still remember it.
You can joke about the Titanic, but you can't joke about this.
That's the wonderful thing about time. It does truly heal all wounds, because if only the people who are angry or disappointed or bitter about the negative thing they had happen, eventually they're going to die like everybody else, and that negativity goes,
Right.
and we hopefully are left with nothing but the comedy.
But are people okay? But I definitely agree with you, Jason. It seems like people are looking for a reason to be offended these days. Is it really worse though now, or is it just that we've got these Facebooks and social networking?
That's exactly what it is. Instead of connecting with someone that you hadn't seen in 10 years since high school or whatever, let me post all day long little memes or whatever about an abortion or whatever. But then it's like you said with the joke about the other guy, because he was a terrorist, it was okay. But let's put stuff they don't like when all this stuff first happened, everything was so bad. Or when the Dixie Chicks said the thing about Bush, and everybody was threatening to kill them, and don't sing another song again. But then Toby Keith comes out with a song, well, let's put our boot in the ASS of these terrorists. He sells $5 billion worth of records.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's the difference?
Well, exactly. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, people have been making jokes about all kinds of things over the years, and now this one thing is. And so, is there a certain time at which somebody should not joke about something? Meaning, like a certain length of time that should pass, or is it fair game?
Right. It's not like the old girlfriend or boyfriend rule where you can't date somebody for 3 years when somebody else has dated them. I mean, I guess maybe there's a week or two, maybe a timeline. So I know that I've always been one that I joke about that stuff immediately.
Yeah.
And, you always say at the end of, is it too soon? That kind of thing to get you off the hook. But I mean, comedy is comedy. A joke is a joke. Now, I may laugh, like you said, at something at home a lot more than I'm going to go out in public. I'm not going to go out in public and start telling black jokes or gay jokes or anything like that. But, I may laugh at one at home, and it's the same thing as a black comic getting up and, a white guy talks like this, and he goes to work 7 days a week,
and those
he
jokes
has
are
a small
funny too.
wiener, and right. So right, and those are funny too.
Right, and the reason why a lot of jokes that are offensive are funny to people is because they frequently have kernels of truth in them.
Curse the FCC right now because I have a funny joke. It's totally R-rated and would be. But I'm like,
and if you censor it, it won't be as funny.
And it wouldn't be as funny. And I always wondered if Southern folks, the thing I love about them, they can be mad. I was listening to the guy and like, this sounds exactly like my mom. She was born in 1941 in Tennessee, and everybody, she's like, I don't talk. I'm like, Mom, you sound exactly like that. South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia. They're very. I can pick them out. And I said, oh, it's so delightful. It just sounds polite. Like, well, hello, how are you doing? Oh, it's so good. Can I get you something to eat, my sir? And it's this. I said, everybody in New York, they're like, rah.
Well, I don't think Jason sounded like a diner waitress.
That's always the constant joke. Yeah, that is always the constant joke. In the South, you talk about how the Northerners talk, or in the Northerners talk about how the Southerners talk. Like we say, bless their heart, which means F you.
Yeah, bless your thumping gizzard was one of my mom's.
Hey, Jason, great call, man. I appreciate your thoughts here tonight. Appreciate
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, sir. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, a lot of these, I'm looking through some of these 9/11 jokes, and some of them are just so bad, and I mean just badly written jokes. Most of them, I would say, aren't really even worth telling, but some of them are pretty funny. And if you've got a good one that we haven't heard yet, you are welcome to share it with us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You can tell your most offensive joke, but obviously it can't be R-rated because you can't say the F word.
This is what irks me because, okay, I understand it. A lot of people might be very conservative. They don't want to hear certain topics, especially if they're listening on the radio with their children. I get it. But the solution is just turn the channel or turn us off, turn us down, or say, kids, some things that adults talk about, they take way too long to explain. I'll tell you when you get to be 15 or 20 or 30, we can talk about all these adult topics. But,
families have listened to Free Talk Live before. It can be a family listening
event. But, there's this muzzle. There's certain things I can't talk about. And I'm like, I'm always checking in the breaks. Ian, is it okay to talk about this? Because I think it's funny. It's true. A lot of families struggle with this issue, but it's adult-level topic. It's not something you want your 5 or 10-year-old to be hearing about.
Well, this isn't a show that is targeted at children.
No.
Now, there are some families
FCC,
who have listened to, or there are families who have, sat down as a family event to listen to Free Talk Live, and they discuss the issues that we talk about here. And, to me, that's the kind of family that I would want to be in, one that's not afraid of addressing whatever the issue is with their kids. To me, that's one of the most, you talk about being offended. One of the things that upsets me is when people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that because what will people say to their kids? Like, taking off your top, for instance. I was talking about being topless last night.
I have to be honest, Ian, I saw you on Chris Cantwell's show.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was on Radical Agenda with Christopher Cantwell, and it's like, well, why is it so hard to explain why a woman is topless to your children? How is that? Why is that a hard conversation to even have?
Yeah. And I just said, well, look, I am I'm married to James in every way, shape, or form except the state. I don't have the piece of paper yet. We're working on that. I have to. But, James and I, if we're walking down, we're enjoying the park. We don't want to see women with their boobs out. And I understand it is a dual standard. I can take my shirt off. James can take his shirt off because he's a man. Women cannot take their shirts off. I think that's unfair, personally.
Right.
But
it
that
should
being
be
said,
equal between the two.
That
it seems
being
like
said,
basic freedoms.
I would just say, okay, because in Europe, guys and girls will get naked.
Yeah,
at
and
parades.
what's the problem with that?
San Francisco.
Do parents have an issue telling their kids about that in Europe, or is it some sort of sexual hang-up that people have here? Hold that thought. Let's go to Stephen listening in North Carolina. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Stephen.
Hey, guys.
Hey there.
Yeah, I heard your advertisement for the candidate Gary Johnson earlier. And did you hear him on the interview the other day with Matt Lott, the other panelist?
It was the Aleppo slip-up that he had?
Yeah, well, it wasn't slip-up. He was just totally clueless. They asked him what did you do about Aleppo? And he said, what's Aleppo?
Yep.
And they suggested that if he was going to be a presidential candidate, he should be apprised of the epicenter of terrorism in the entire world.
Yeah, I want to hear what you think about this, Stephen. So can you hang through the news?
Sure.
All right, we'll bring you back. Stephen, in North Carolina, the Gary Johnson gaffe from earlier this week, I think, if he said that he didn't know, that's an honest answer at the very least, rather than pretending like he did and then sounding really stupid. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. We'll see what Stephen thinks and your thoughts about anything. It's Free Talk Live.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 10th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,328 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $626. Antiwar.com reports at least 4 Turkish airstrikes were carried out against targets in northern Syria, described as the Islamic State quarters in 4 regions in northern Syria. Casualties are unclear, but Turkish media claimed at least 1 the Islamic State fighter to have been killed. The strikes included areas in and around Tel Ali, and Turkish media claimed that Turkish-backed rebels linked to the Free Syrian Army had captured the region away from the Islamic State over the course of Friday's offensive. Turkey invaded northern Syria late last month with an eye toward securing a 90-kilometer strip of the border for the rebel faction. They've taken the territory strictly along the border and have been pushing further south over the past few days, deeper into the Islamic State territory. As the Islamic State starts to run out of nearby territory, the next likely targets are to be Kurdish territory along the Euphrates River, with Turkey making repeated demands for the Kurdish YPG to cede all territory west of the river and rejecting U.S. claims that the Kurds have already done so. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Minnesota Democrats have filed a lawsuit seeking to have Donald Trump and Mike Pence kicked off the ballot in November after the state party failed to follow election laws in selecting the slate of electors that will appear. The matter stems from a legal technicality involving alternate delegates to the Electoral College. The Minnesota Constitution states Electoral College delegates and their alternates must be elected at the party's convention. The GOP picked its Electoral College delegates at the party convention on August 24th, but did not pick alternates. When the party submitted its ballot paperwork on the day of the deadline, August 29th, it did not include that information. Party leaders were forced to scramble and did not have time to reconvene a state convention to fix the oversight, so the slate of alternates was chosen by the party's executive committee. The oversight caused a brief panic when the presidential ticket did not appear on a list on the Minnesota Secretary of State website on the day of the deadline. Now, Democrats in the state have filed a suit in the Minnesota Supreme Court arguing that the Republicans cut corners. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Voluntary Islam. Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and other essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Private Chelsea Manning, serving a 35-year prison term for passing classified files to WikiLeaks, said on Friday that she would refuse to eat until given help for her gender dysphoria and treated with dignity, respect, and humanity by the government. The 28-year-old Army private, who was born male but revealed after being convicted of espionage that she identifies as a woman, tried to commit suicide in July over what her representative said was the government's denial of appropriate treatment for gender issues. The Army announced later that month that it would investigate Manning for misconduct in connection with the attempt to take her own life, a probe that could lead to indefinite solitary confinement, reclassification into maximum security, or additional prison time. Manning said in a statement released by a spokeswoman, "I need help. I needed help earlier this year. I was driven to suicide by the lack of care for my gender dysphoria, and I have been desperate for it. I did not get any. I still haven't gotten any. I'm no longer asking. Now I'm demanding." As of 12:01 a.m. Central Daylight Time on September 9th, 2016, and until I am given minimum standards of dignity, respect, and humanity, I shall refuse to voluntarily cut or shorten my hair in any way, consume any food or drink voluntarily except for water and currently prescribed medications, and comply with all rules, regulations, laws, and orders that are not related to the two things I have mentioned. Manning said in her statement that she was prepared mentally and emotionally to endure an indefinite hunger strike, even if it proved fatal. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Zoo visitors watch the mating rituals of the ice cream shop staff, and a serious coworker puts on headphones to focus on his sandwich. Happiness is perpetually fleeting, so try to savor the next few minutes before it disappears once again. This is the Onion Week in Review. FBI officials announced they just can't bring themselves to bust a man who recently downloaded every season of the 1990s television show Picket Fences from a BitTorrent website. While stressing that pirating copyrighted material is strictly illegal, federal authorities expressed their sympathy for the man and claimed that perhaps the story of Sheriff Jimmy Brock and the strange events in a small Wisconsin town is all he has left to cling to.
We have more than enough evidence to bust him for piracy, but if the poor guy really wants to watch all 4 seasons of a 20-year-old CBS drama that nobody remembers, he's clearly going through a pretty big rough patch right now. Frankly, we don't need to make it any worse.
For statistical purposes, we have seized all private data from your personal computer, and we are disgusted with your recent internet search history. You sick f***. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on this live Saturday edition of the show. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can also Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, it's Ian.
And TJ the Spy.
We're going to go back to the phones and the fun. For those of you just tuning in, we have been talking about humor and offensive humor. Humor that is morbid, black, dark, stuff that is, obviously at the expense of somebody else or the expense of a tragic event or occurrence. Specifically, what started the conversation was a mattress store in San Antonio, Texas, that has put out an upsetting commercial for a lot of people, and now they're shutting down the store indefinitely after having received death threats over what was a relatively kind of cutesy, fun commercial promoting a 9/11 weekend sale at said mattress store involving a couple of the store employees sort of falling into twin towers of mattresses that knocked them down. And it was, some would say tasteless, others would say cute, funny. I mean, everybody's got a different opinion, and that's the thing with humor. Sometimes it's incisive and hilarious, and some people see it, and other people get offended by it. Some people love it. Everybody's different. So you can share your thoughts on when is too soon. Also, Stephen was on the line with us in North Carolina, and you'd actually changed the topic, which you're always welcome to do here on Free Talk Live. You wanted to talk about Gary Johnson, the libertarian, and I'll put quotes around that, libertarian presidential candidate, who kind of botched it up to some extent on an interview this week about Aleppo, where he did not know what it was. Go ahead with your thoughts on that, Stephen.
Well, yeah, that was just basically it. But, being a presidential candidate, he should be apprised of international politics. And there's something of that, related to terrorism that way. I think he should be prepared and have a plan or at least a knowledge of the situation. But quite frankly, as a humorist, you can go to YouTube and put in Johnson fails Aleppo or whatever, and you can clearly see that he's just totally lost, and his eyes are darting around. He's just totally panic-stricken lost. He has no clue. And then he went into a generic speech about, oh, yeah, we shouldn't be involved in international politics. And all he did was make a few circles and said nothing. So that was just basically it,
Well, ultimately, the United States really shouldn't be involved in international affairs, military or political. So that's always a safe answer for a libertarian to give if they don't know. But, at least he said he didn't know. It would have been a lot worse for him had he pretended to know and then said something really ignorant as a result of that. And I don't know.
Right, but
go ahead.
Whenever it comes to a sensitive epicenter of that regard, that's kind of like having a clueless surgeon, though.
Well, so. I didn't know exactly where Aleppo was either. I mean, I still couldn't tell you. Was it Syria? Is that where it is?
Syria, yes. Bashar al-Assad. In fact, there's the Hotel Aleppo. I was going to go there. It's $30 a night. They will warn you that gunfire is quite common. And if you're an American and you're in Aleppo, Syria, they're going to think you're an American intelligence officer. So I'm not going to be going there anytime soon because, Jack, could you imagine me showing up there? Oh, gosh. I don't know. That's like this guy's either really insane or he's American intelligence because that's the only two white dudes in the area. Everyone else is killing and shooting each other. And I don't know about you, but my idea of a vacation is not to go where people are shooting and killing each other. So
there's a good chance that most people in America don't know where.
I guarantee you, we'll go out and interview 1,000 people, and I get the Aleppo. What? Huh? Syria?
It sounds a little bit like dog food.
Yeah,
they have a dog
Aleppo,
food,
you're
but yeah, spelled very very similarly to it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't expect everybody to know everything about all the the international intrigue or the goings on out there. But I get where you're coming from, Stephen. You were disappointed in him, and I can tell you, I'm disappointed in Gary Johnson for a whole host of other reasons. Mainly the fact that he doesn't represent the ideas of liberty in any kind of principled way. So to me, this is, just a minor gaffe where he just didn't have information about a particular place and what was going on there. That is nothing in comparison to the fact that he is basically dragging libertarianism's name through the mud by being just completely clueless on the principles of liberty. And he's said on his website that he's not a principled person. He's basically admitted to not being a libertarian. Go ahead, Stephen.
I say exactly. He's completely clueless on that, apparently. But thank you for your time.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Someone that protects our boundaries in our country, and that would be Mr. T for me.
Mr. T. All right, brother. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So, yeah, I mean, Gary Johnson, huge disappointment to a lot of us libertarians.
I'm not really that disappointed. I mean, he's like, well, okay, he has said, I don't know anything about that. That's perfectly fine.
No, we're not talking about Aleppo here. I'm talking about the fact that he's not a libertarian. That's what's a huge disappointment.
He's not a libertarian. Why now? Because I honestly,
to be a libertarian, you have to agree, basically, that you should not use, to advocate or actually use the threat of force to achieve political or social goals. That's what a libertarian is. That's what the Libertarian Party, which is only a portion of the libertarian movement, but that's what the Libertarian Party requires its members to sign in order to join the Libertarian Party. So at some point, Gary Johnson signed that statement. But the things that come out of his mouth make it pretty clear that he does not understand what it was that he has signed, or he's actively rejected what it was that he has signed, because he's not talking about that principle. He doesn't have any principles. He talks about how he judges issues based on costs and benefits. I mean, the guy's a populist. He's not a libertarian.
Well, it sounds like a politician to me.
Well, right, and that's
Someone
a problem.
Who knows what's the correct answer versus what do you really think.
And he is a politician, and that's a problem. He's not a libertarian, but yet he's being called a libertarian. Let's go to Scott, listening in Indiana to WIBC in Indianapolis. Hey, Scott.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, I was wanting to talk about back to the jokes a little bit, but there's a famous quote. I'm sure you've probably heard it. I did quite a few years ago, but it basically goes, comedy is tragedy plus time. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. You kind of, given enough time and a joke told in a right way, it can actually be helpful. Now, like this Mattress Factory thing, this store, the reaction to it was way disproportionate. I mean, yeah, sure, if people didn't like it, and to be honest, I didn't like it either. I thought it was a tasteless joke. I'll admit to that, but I wouldn't have threatened them. I would have maybe said, you may be able to have somebody, with a little bit more sense of decorum in your commercials next time. But there are some great examples of comedy actually serving a good purpose, and I can point one out right off the top, and I'm sure you know this one too. Blazing Saddles. What greater way? What greater way to totally just smash the whole idea of the ridiculousness that is racism by lampooning racism, where everybody gets made fun of. I mean, I'm not going to say the word on the air, but there's one part where we'll take the Irish and the slur for Chinese people, but not the and the slur for black people, but not the Irish. That great line. There's so many jokes sprinkled throughout that movie. And many of the jokes written by none other than Richard Pryor, by the way. Mm-hmm. And that's a great example of comedy serving a great purpose, well above and beyond being arguably the funniest movie ever written. One that sadly never be made again today.
Wow, excellent points, Scott. Really appreciate you sharing that. Anything else you want to throw out there?
Well, I was going to mention one short story, personal story about a joke told, a tasteless joke told in a work environment that didn't go over well at all. And that was, I was in the Navy for 4 years, and we had one of the guys in missile division and who was a fire controlman. They're basically the guys who direct the missile fire. He told a joke while they were at quarters, which is basically where everybody musters and they tell them what they're going to be doing for the day in general, and they go on to work from there. They do that as a daily routine in the morning. But he told a joke that I'm not going to repeat, but it was a Holocaust joke. And number one, it was a pretty tasteless joke. But the other thing was...
Most Holocaust jokes are tasteless.
Yes, exactly. Well, here's the thing that got me was the chief who was in charge of the whole division. You know, he's the top enlisted man for the division. You know, a very senior enlisted man who'd been serving in the Navy at that point. Well, he was a senior chief, so he'd been serving for at least 23, 24 years at that point. His name was Abram. Now, you would think that you would, you know, kind of make it click in your head. That's a Hebrew-oriented name.
Hold that thought, Scott. It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Hi, this is Sophie Winnick, longtime distributor and user of Youngevity products. In the last few years, my family went through a crisis. Everything else in my life, including my business, had to be put on the back burner. Thankfully, life is getting back to normal now. But the one thing I never had to worry about was my business and my monthly commission. I've been a distributor for Youngevity for over 17 years, since before it was Youngevity. And I've got to say, the most amazing thing about this company is the people. While my family was in crisis, other distributors stepped in and helped my customers, simply because that's what Youngevity people do, even for people they don't know. For me, it has never been about getting rich. It was about a product I could stand behind, a company I could count on, and a monthly commission check that has never, not once, been late in 17 years. Youngevity is truly a business for everyone, even people who have too much to do. I'm Sophie Winnick. I'm just like you. I have a real life, real ups and downs, but I know I will always have Youngevity.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio on demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is down $7 at $1,331 per ounce, and silver is 28 cents lower at $19.39 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $619 US. Check out our selection of Royal Canadian Mint products, beautiful bars and coins with enhanced security features. For more information, call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may bring up anything you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The Skype username here is lrn.fm. Again, lrn.fm on Skype. By the way, Bitcoin.com is your premier source for everything Bitcoin related. You can get help buying Bitcoins or choosing a Bitcoin wallet. You can read the latest news or engage with the community on the Bitcoin forum. Find places to spend your Bitcoin or play online games with the cryptocurrency. It's the source for all of your Bitcoin needs and news. It's Bitcoin.com. As we go back to the phones and to the fun, you can call in about anything you want. The overarching topic tonight has been comedy, jokes, making jokes too soon after some sort of tragic event or death. Is there such a thing as too soon? Let's go back to Scott in Indiana. You were trying to drive at some point, but we're nailed to the clock here sometimes on Free Talk Live. Scott, could you briefly recap? You were telling us a story. You were in the military. Just kind of start from the top and recap, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah, exactly. It's very, very, very brief. It's not too much to say, but as I said, we had a fire controlman when I was in the Navy. He was in a missile division, and he told a Holocaust joke with a division headed by a senior chief whose surname was Abrams. And as you probably already know, and most people probably know, Abram was the original Hebrew name for a man who later came to become known as Abraham in the biblical times. So that's traditionally a Hebrew name, not necessarily always. I mean, Abraham Lincoln, that was his first name, not his surname, but still, one would think it probably wouldn't be a good idea to tell that joke, especially not with a senior chief with that name. But anyway, rather than being really bad consequences, but what's funny about this is kind of amusing in a bad way, I guess. But later on, that same fire controlman, he said later he was out there just that day, looking outside the chief's mess and saw the bunch of ball caps there hanging up, and he took one down and had Chief Abrams written on it. He looked inside it and saw the Star of David inside the crown of the hat, and then he realized, I've just told a very offensive joke to this guy who's obviously Jewish, so he was taken out of the division. It could have been much worse for the fire controlman. He was a third class, but he was he moved him into engineering. He said, "Well, I'm not going to send you the captain's mast over this, but you're not going to be a fire controlman anymore. You're gonna do this," which is, I've never seen that done before. Most of the time, they would have sent him to the old man for something like that, but he was punished for that.
So he was demoted over a joke, huh? Wow.
Well, not exactly demoted. You could call it a demotion, but he wasn't busted. I mean, he still kept his rank. He just wasn't working as a fire controlman any longer. He was working in a job he hadn't been trained for. But he offended the wrong guy. And getting back to Blazing Saddles, that's what's sad to me, is that Blazing Saddles have really taken a lot of the bite out of racism anymore. And now it seems like, especially over the last about 10 years, we've become hypersensitive to racism. And all the advances by Blazing Saddles and movies like that lampooned racism seem to have gone backwards. People become hypersensitive, and they seem to use racism as a cudgel to silence people. It's a shame, because that movie, more than anything else, I think, took the bite out of it than anything else with humor.
Great call. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate hearing from you. Maybe Spaceballs 2 will save us all. Thanks for the call tonight.
And by the way, I am totally available. I think now gays are moving into the mainstream enough. If you make an anti-gay joke on your comment on your radio show, Ian, and you need to have an apologist for you, see, I can go on and say, look, Ian is very supportive, and he made a joke. Or Chris Camp, I said $5, $10, I'll be your shill, your cuck, or whatever. Say whatever. And that was like, so basically, black people have Al Sharpton, and, I'm willing to be the gay Al Sharpton equivalent. If you say something obnoxious that offends a bunch of people who aren't even in your constituency, just come on my show and you'll have a pretend apology session. $10. We'll call it all even. And I think that would be a great idea. I mean, I could make a lot of money.
Like I say, I don't even remember jokes, so it would be very hard for me to tell a joke that I wasn't reading.
Al Sharpton, I say, boy, they get a lot of money, and I'm just going, I need to get in on some of this gays being offended at you being bad for business dollars.
The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Ian. He's in China on Skype. Hello, Ian.
Yeah, I'd like to go back a bit to the 911.
Sure.
And how the Chinese people view this.
Okay.
The Chinese people really are, believe it or not, a kind, sweet, and loving people by nature.
Most people are.
And it every time the major media shows it, it tears their heart out.
You're saying every time the media shows that they're loving?
Media shows, No, they show the buildings crashing.
Oh.
They interview people. They rehash this crap. It makes a lot of people very sad. The Chinese people can't process it. And they blame the major media. They can't process that so many thousands and thousands of people would die so quickly in a country that most of them wish they lived in. The lineup of people in China who want to go to America has no end. And they see this, they see the major media stirring it up, not letting it go, stirring it up and keeping people thin-skinned and afraid. That's my first two observations.
So the state media is still bringing this issue up?
No, state media is not. But MSNBC, Yahoo News, these people are just into it.
Are there Chinese versions of MSNBC?
No, but you remember, China is a nation with 700 million English students.
Okay, right.
A lot of people here speak some English. The other big challenge here, and it's a challenge, is nobody knows explosives like the Chinese. Okay, they invented these things.
Sure, firecrackers, fireworks. Sure.
In China, when a building gets old or unsightly or out of the way, they, even if it's 35 stories tall, they knock it down. They don't rebuild it, renovate it. They, as they say, pull it down. And I've seen them. I saw a 56-story building pulled down, and they all fall neatly in their own footprint. And I've spoken one very good friend named Wei Feng, who's a master at building demolition. He says, I've watched those videos again and again. He said, it's impossible. He calls it his collection
again and again.
He's talking about 9/11.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm not being clear.
Yeah,
he
I
watched
got
videos of the building collapses in 911, and he watched them. And he has what he calls the debris pile, which he says one of the major amount of debris collects. He said the debris piles on the towers and Building 7, he said the debris piles are works of art. He said somebody really did a good job of containing the debris pile. Then he flips over and says, how was this an act of terror? How did 2 airplanes put them in the debris tower when it would take his crew a month to drill, size up, measure, and prepare a building?
TJ, did you want to comment here? You're making some indications that...
Well, it sounds to me that he doesn't believe that 9/11 was done by airplanes. It sounds like you are hinting it's like beating around the bush to see if what we'll say. Are you asserting...
no, I'm sorry.
It sounds pretty clear that
he's openly asserting that those buildings were deliberately demolished by experts.
There's been a lot of people who've suggested that over time. Thank you for the call, Ian. I appreciate it. We're not going to get into it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, that's it's a conspiracy theory. It's been floated for a decade and a half at this point, and I don't feel like rehashing it. You can bring up anything, though, if you want. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Can your vitamin supplements positively affect your blood in 5 minutes? Protovite can. Protovite is a genuine breakthrough liquid daily nutrition that delivers quality ingredients into your blood in less than 5 minutes. Scientifically proven and backed by clinical studies, Protovite supports energy, vitality, and optimal health. Watch our 2-minute live blood cell video and see for yourself at vninc.com/prohealth. That's vninc.com/prohealth.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com. ProPure products, including.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you may bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you want to help support Free Talk Live and get a huge discount on your Amazon purchases, then go to saveitpurse.com and start your shopping. SaveATPurse.com. What SaveItPurse.com allows you to do, if you have Bitcoin, is save easily 10, 15, 20% off of anything, almost anything that Amazon sells through their store. So what you do is you go to Amazon, you put your stuff that you want on a wish list, you import that wish list in at saveitpurse.com, saveatpurse.com, and then you select the discount you want. Now, the higher the discount you choose, the longer it may take to fulfill your order. Like I did 25% the other day on a video game. It took about 3 days for that order to get fulfilled. But if I were to have done 15%, it might have taken 3 hours. So as long as you're willing to wait for a little bit, you can get tremendous discounts if you have Bitcoin. That's the key. That's what you need to make this work. And you also need to go to Save It Purse, saveatpurse.com, as we go to your phone calls and thoughts. First up, we got Steve. He's in Indiana. Hey, Steve, you're on Free Talk Live.
Right, there you are.
Hey, you're on the air.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, I got a tasteless joke for you.
All right.
Well, subject to the FCC. Remember, we have FCC people who will get mad at us if someone complains. So we have our finger on the dump button,
Keep
sir.
that in mind.
Just there's 7 words. There's 7 words you can't say.
It doesn't include any of those.
All right, great.
Okay. You may have already heard it. I don't know. So, are you still there?
Yeah, right here.
Okay. What's the difference between the real Jesus and the picture of Jesus?
Uh-oh.
The difference between the real Jesus and a picture of Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty tasteless. I
Let's
don't
hear
know.
it. Let's hear it. Go ahead.
All right. It only takes one nail to hang the picture.
Oh.
Pretty bad,
All
right?
right. Is that all you had for us, Steve?
That's all
Thanks
I
for
got.
the call, man. I appreciate it. Yep, you can call in with a tasteless joke. That's totally legit here on Free Talk Live. It's really open phones anytime. You got a tasteless joke you want to tell us anytime, any night. It doesn't have to be tonight.
I'm reminded of Dogma, that Matt Damon film with Ben Affleck, came out I think '99, and I remember people were so up in arms. They were like, "It's making fun of Jesus," and I said, "Well, in their defense, the Jesus I've seen's hanging on the cross there. I'm like, boy, that's just an uplifting. He's hanging there all dead with nails in his hands." And I'm just going, ooh, that gave me the willies as a kid. And I'm so glad as an adult it's a little bit more able. But I mean, adults sometimes look at children and go, "What's wrong with them? They're afraid of some dude hanging there dead on the cross."
So again, I just looked up crucifixion jokes. I'm sure that's not the only one out there. You can, of course, share your thoughts here. 855-450 free. Let's go to Cell 411. I've got Cell 411 on the mind here. There's a pretty cool new doodad that they've come out with, an actual physical button that you can press. Why are you sighing?
You're a play toy boy. I know exactly what kind of dude you are. I can see you. Oh, I have a new DSLR camera. I see that look in your eye. You're like, oh, they have a new play toy. And I'm going, oh.
This is not a play toy. This is serious business. Cell
411, I know.
Cell 411 is an emergency alert app that allows you to inform your neighbors, your friends, your family members, even members of the public who are also Cell 411 users, to emergencies that might be happening in your life. I mean, this isn't a toy. This is a pretty serious piece of hardware.
It's an amazing piece of engineering.
That we were sent actually by Virgil, who's the creator of Cell 411. I highly recommend people check it out. Go to getcell411.com. Actually, Derek J. Freeman just posted up a blog about it over at freekeen.com. I'll be sharing that out on our Facebook page as well. So anyway, we've got him here in the studio. We'll be giving him to all the Free Talk Live co-hosts, and I'm sure we'll talk more about him as time goes on. Getcell411.com. Go check that out as we go to the phones here and talk to Socrates. He's on Skype. Go ahead, Socrates. You're in New Hampshire. Hello, Socrates. Socrates going once. Socrates going twice.
No, Socrates is here. Socrates is here.
You're on the air.
If you guys brought up Gary Johnson briefly, which presidential candidate do you think guaranteed Mitt Romney a spot in his administration?
That would be Gary Johnson.
That would be Gary Johnson. So the question really pertains, if you're a libertarian, right? Mm-hmm. Who do you think's policies would be more libertarian if it comes down to Donald Trump and Gary Johnson? And the more nuance that you look at it, Gary Johnson's poll just came out, just had a poll in New Hampshire where he's polling at 14%. And I really think this is destructive. So if you wanted to do a protest vote, if it came down to Donald Trump and Gary Johnson, if I was forced to vote, which I wouldn't, but I would pick Donald Trump at this point. Because,
really? Why?
Yeah. Why? Because he actually has the potential to, as Lou Rockwell said, accidentally do some good. And what he means by that is, he said, there's never been a businessman that's actually been authoritarian. It's generally good, but you do generally have either pawns that are usually run.
Wait. Wait. Who said there's never been a businessman who's been an authoritarian?
Lou Rockwell.
That's a ridiculous statement.
He had a podcast. Yeah, he had a podcast that came out 2 days ago. It's the title of it is "Should We Like Trump for the Enemies He's Made?" And what they actually have a nuanced discussion between him and Tom Woods and one of the other guests. And they actually had a debate in terms of what good could come out of Trump if it came down to it. And he looked at Gary Johnson, and the problem with Gary Johnson is if that guy actually did ever get elected, all that would happen is that you would have Mitt Romney's 2012 administration essentially running the campaign. And that would do such immense damage to the reputation of actually ever having a libertarian movement to the country that he looks at Donald Trump. And he looks at Donald Trump as somebody that because he's so
I don't know if I can bring myself to vote for Gary Johnson. I really don't. I mean, for the reasons you're pointing out here, but at the same time, I don't think I could vote for Donald Trump either. I mean, I don't think I can vote for any of these people. Hillary Clinton, Trump, Stein, Johnson, all of them.
Why do I have to vote? Why do I need to get Gary Johnson's permission if I want to smoke pot? Not hypothetically. Why do I have to get Gary Johnson's permission or Donald Trump's permission or Hillary Clinton's permission? I think I'm an adult and I can make my own decisions, is what I'm saying.
Well, the reason why people vote
is... They
is...
tap dance around it because you ask them flat, I'm an adult. Do I have the right to smoke cannabis or not? And they'll be like, I think it's a very complicated issue.
No, I think Gary Johnson would say that. Gary Johnson's not very libertarian, but on the issue of cannabis, he's got that one right.
I see both sides of the issue, and I understand how drugs both improves and destroys lives. And I'm just listening to this going, yes. So what do you think? They never say what they think. They go with whatever they've been prepared with. And they know better.
Tom once pointed out that Gary Johnson has a problem where he seriously at the core has what he called zero intellectual curiosity whatsoever, and that makes him a really dangerous person. And he pointed this out because he was asked a question in one of the debates: we're dropping the bombs, the atomic bombs in Hiroshima in World War II, a good thing, a bad thing, and should the U.S. apologize for it? And he goes, I have no idea, right? And the idea was like, he's like, have you never considered the idea that it's not very hard to just say like, yeah, lots of people died.
Yeah,
right?
bad thing.
That's a bad thing, right? You don't have to be like, well, let's take a look at the cost benefit analysis.
Was it 100,000 innocent people or something like that, or more than that? It was ridiculous.
You just can't argue it. It's like, well, perhaps the mass amounts of deaths of civilians were perhaps a long-term benefit because the radiation poisoning that we infected them with. It's a scary thing.
He's not very impressive when he's on these interviews. He's not good at thinking on his feet. And, you can argue it's because he's not well informed. But the thing is, as a libertarian, which he's not, but if he were a libertarian, he'd be able to answer a lot of these questions without missing a beat, because the answer is always freedom and the answer is always non-aggression. But for him, he's got to come up with some sort of political answer because, well, he's not an actual libertarian. Socrates, thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number, if you want to join us in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live, is 855-450-FREE. It's Ian and TJ here, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. You can get on the line, sound just as good as Socrates and Ian have. Skype generally sounds pretty great. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. You can take control of the airwaves. This is the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live.
Know that sound? That's the sound of trouble for CPAP users. Did you know that just one drop of water in your CPAP system can become a breeding ground for mold and bacteria? Breathe that stuff in and you're battling respiratory infections, allergy attacks, and more. But here's good news. SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's the healthier way to clean your system because it kills 99.9% of germs in minutes. For a limited time, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-951-9693. SoClean makes cleaning your CPAP a breeze. It's completely hands-free. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Don't let one drop of water wreak havoc on your body. Call SoClean.com now for your risk-free trial while supplies last. 1-800-951-9693. That's 1-800-951-9693.
Dr. Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize for discovering how cells breathe. He also discovered how normal cells turn into tumor cells. He discovered the one prime cause of cancer was cellular oxygen deficiency. Dr. Joanna Budwig built upon the work of Dr. Warburg and discovered how to feed the cells to overcome this oxygen deficiency. She found that it was the sulfur in the cottage cheese that would mix with fresh pressed flax oil that the flax oil would become emulsified and more readily absorbed. Flax oil delivered in this manner was able to restore oxygen transfer to all cells of the body. Now there's a new method of pressing seed oils that produces the highest quality, zero oxidation, undamaged seed oils. The results on these seed oils alone are amazing. Now add our Life Force Enhanced One World Whey Protein Powder that is much higher in the sulfur amino acids than cottage cheese is, and you have a winning combination to confer health and energy like never before. Call 888-988-3325 or visit sacredseedoils.com. That's sacredseedoils.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here in the remaining moments of this live Saturday edition. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We've also got a live Sunday edition, so if you don't make it in tonight, no problem. We can always get you in tomorrow night. There's always more time for Free Talk Live. We do it 7 nights a week, and you can join us live anytime at freetalklive.com. You can also listen to us on a bunch of great radio stations all around the country. And if you want to help support the show, one of the ways you can do that is by becoming a Free Talk Live amplifier. And AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The idea is you send $5 a month into the show. We invest that into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations, more internet connections, bring more people to the ideas of freedom, because that's one of the things we do pretty well here on Free Talk Live. You can help us with that. You can get access to special perks for amplifiers, like the AMP-only call-in lines. There's the AMP-only Facebook group, as well as the AMP-only podcast. So go and get all the details and get signed up with any major credit card or Visa or MasterCard right on our website. You can use any major card through PayPal. And then there's also Bitcoin, which you can amp with Bitcoin now, which is awesome. So go to amp.freetalklive.com as we go back to your calls and thoughts. We got Dave. He's in Statesville, North Carolina, listening to WSIC. Hey, Dave. Hello, Dave.
Vietnam veteran, and I wasn't treated too well when I came back to my country, but I wasn't thin-skinned. I said, I understand their arguments, their misunderstanding of the fact that I had to serve my country because there was a draft available at that time. But I just kind of moved on with my life and, just operated a little bit undercover and just tried to keep, people from knowing exactly what my background was. Mm-hmm. But now everybody's so thin-skinned about even the smallest issues.
Do you feel like it's worse today? Do you feel like it's actually that people are thinner-skinned today than they were in the past?
I do, and it bothers me when I see an entire grouping of caskets of soldiers coming back from battles they fought overseas, and this guy that refuses to stand for the national anthem will not go through those dead bodies and pick out the black members and take the flags off of their caskets.
Well, I won't stand for the national anthem either, because I don't support the United States. I think it should be broken up. I think we need to have 50 separate states, and we don't need the United States. So why bother standing for the national anthem?
Well, as far as that goes, I would like to secede right now.
Right on. See? See? Everybody loves secession.
Now, how old are you, my good sir?
That would be great. I'm 63 years old.
So you've had a lot of time to think about it. So I worked in D.C. or around D.C., and there's the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. There's 57,000 names of dead people whose lives were cut short. And I just wanted to ask you, and honestly, was it worth it? We have 57,000 dead people, and
No.
No? Is that like
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's some people still say no, we had to do it, and other people say no, it was a way. And saying, well, the nice thing I say, a lot of people lost a lot of good people over there and have painful memories, and
including
the survivors are the ones
the
who
Vietnamese as well.
Yes, and the nice thing is, it's why
it's
we like
just
peace. We
another
like peace
situation.
because people tend to be a lot happier when people aren't killing and shooting each other. That's
we
honestly.
can't police the entire world.
Yep.
And that's what we were doing in Vietnam. I realized that after we left.
Well, we tend to be wiser when we get older, and we realize things at 70, 80 that we don't always realize when we're 20.
Well, right, and the government is taking advantage.
We forget, yeah.
The government takes advantage now. It was drafting people at that time, but now they're just brainwashing young people into joining their aggressive military going all around the world. I'm glad you're on board for Secession, Dave. I'm with you. Let's keep talking about it so people can take it seriously as an idea that time has come again. Thank you for your call here tonight. I appreciate it. And, great viewpoint there. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I don't know if we've ever had somebody call in who, maybe it has happened, but I don't recall very many people supporting the Vietnam War. People are generally, they think that was a huge mistake.
Well, I can understand if you went off, I look at some of these soldiers, especially the ones who go special forces training, they're in 35-degree water, and you want to ask them, that's one of the great mental things they do, is they're like, this is voluntary. There's plenty of jobs out there you can have. You do not have to be a Navy SEAL. Just ring the bell. I'll buy you a steak dinner, hot coffee. You don't have to do this. And that will crack so many men. They might be big and strong physically, but you have to want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of admirable. But at the same time, I said, I hope you don't take your last breath when you're 70 and feel you got duped. Because I'm just going, boy, this looks miserable. Who wants to be out here in 35-degree water, nearly drowning, and 4 hours of sleep every week? This looks like hell. In fact, that's why they call it Hell Week.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And people choose to do that for their living. I'm like, wow, okay, well,
it's an accomplishment. There's no doubt about that. But unfortunately, what you accomplish is that you serve the interests of politicians, whether you're in the Navy SEALs or the Army or whatever. After you've gone through whatever the training is, you are their tool, and they will do with you what they want unless you have the courage to say no, which most of them
That sounds
don't.
kind of like what a master and slave relationship. Master, may I please do something? Yes, we give you permission to do it. Or, no, you don't have the right license. Whack. And, of course, I've said, has there ever been a time in history where the slaves or serfs have gone to their master and said, we would really like to be recognized for the right to be free, just be able to, we're not bothering anybody. We'll mind our own business. If we want to drink moonlight, hooch from the daddy's still in the Appalachians, I don't see why the ATF needs to mount a task force with a tank and say someone's not paying their taxes on their moonshine. I fail to see why.
Gang. They're a criminal gang who they want to get their money for. They want to get their cut of anybody that's transacting any kind of business out there, because that's what a criminal gang does.
Yeah.
And they pretend like they offer you services and protection and all that, but it's a bunch of nonsense. Of course, as anybody who's paying attention knows, the U.S. military is going around making it more dangerous to be an American by bombing and killing people. Let's talk to Sarah. She's in Albuquerque. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, I do agree with you that, I really feel that Gary Johnson is just a politician, and he's also a Republican. And, it's a Republican strategy trying to deceive us so that they could split the progressive vote with the so-called Libertarian Party and then help Donald Trump get elected. So when they say they threw him out because he likes pot, that's all just conjured up malarkey. It's just a ploy just to think that he's different. But he's the purpose is to split up the Democratic vote two ways.
Well, that's interesting, Sarah, because a lot of people would say the opposite is the truth, and that Johnson will split the Republican vote rather than the Democrat vote. But the truth of the matter is that libertarians if you actually had a real libertarian running, that the libertarians would pull votes from both of the major candidates, and as well as attract voters who otherwise would not have participated. So no, it's not true that libertarians are going to appeal more towards one political party or another. But I know where you're coming. I get where you're coming from, that you think he is going to be some sort of a spoiler. Thank you for the call tonight. It's one of the common objections that we hear as third-party candidates is, oh, you shouldn't be running. You're going to take votes away from one candidate or the other.
Ralph Nader. Yeah, I think I was. We had to hate Ralph Nader for some reason. I think whoever I was dating at the time.
He hated Ralph Nader?
He hated Ralph Nader because that allowed George W. Bush to steal the election from Gore. So that would have been 2000 then. Oh, that was delightful. Oh, I was cackling with glee when that electoral college came down to Florida, and it was so close. And I'm like, this is the problem with voting. Just, it's so... And you had this big brouhaha, and I was like, hey, whoever's willing to pay more to be president, that's who should get the job.
I mean, what does it matter? Like this, I just feel like it doesn't even... this year... it just doesn't even really matter to vote in the national election.
You kind of just, I look at the math going, yeah, each side's going to spend $500 million to get a job that only pays $400,000 a year. Something seems kind of wrong. I don't think they're running for the money.
No,
I think they're
the
running
power.
for something other than the money.
It's the power.
That's
Obviously.
kind of a bad reason to be in politics if you're there for the power.
That's the reason why they're in politics. I mean, that's what it's all about. Yeah, money comes with it. You know, there's definitely backroom deals,
and we expect our politicians to not be humans because you realize humans are all flawed.
Yep.
And you put them around money and
you
power.
give them power, and then they become.
You know what
up.
happens? The story's the same every time. You give a flawed human being money and power, and just it
right,
always
which
ends
is
up
why
bad.
I'm just not excited at any of
and
these.
that's why
candidates.
you give the government a lot of power. Well, the government's made up of people just like you and me.
Right, people believe
Alcoholics,
that these
addicts,
presidential candidates are somehow
people with anger issues,
better people, and they're
Try
not.
not to make them mad, Ian.
We know they're not better people.
Afraid.
Don't be afraid, because that's what they want. That's
Halloween's
what
coming up. I'm trying to give a teaser.
That's what the government wants. They want you to be afraid, and if you can beat your fear of them, then that puts you a few steps ahead.
Don't be
Thanks,
afraid of the
TJ, for coming in here
My pleasure,
tonight.
my
We'll
good
see you tomorrow
sir.
night online. In the meantime, you can join us over at freetalklive.com and enjoy your weekend.
Here's a good. If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter.